gonna party like it's 1998. That works. Welcome to the Game Tasty Podcast, brought to you by three fine fellows from Bacon.com, the tastiest place on the internet to get your gaming fix on. I am Jeff Roth, editor at Bacon.com.
And I'm Dave the Watchman, COO and news director of Bacon.com.
And I'm Level Up Justin with Bacon.com.
And we are live at twitch.tv/nerdbacon, mixer.com/nerdbacon, YouTube, the Nerd Bacon channel on YouTube, Smashcast, the Nerd Bacon channel. We're also on your audio, for your audio file people. We're on Spotify, we're on Stitcher, we're on Podbean, we're on Anchor. Wherever you want to get your audio podcast, usually we're there. We will be there. We are always there.
Sounds like an infestation.
We are a plague. We are everywhere. But the good fun plague.
That's right. Not the kind that requires an ointment later on.
Exactly. Fellas, we are here, and also we'll say in the podcast, before we get too far into this, don't forget you can buy your Nerd Bacon shirts right below on the very bottom of the stream. You can see the URL to go to. Also, there should be a link somewhere. But the URL bottom of the stream, you can go buy your Nerd Bacon merchandise, the sweet t-shirts. They look beautiful, by the way. Also, don't forget the Game Awards is next Thursday. You can watch that here with us. There's a scroll at the top of the stream throughout the entire show to know when that's happening, but we're doing that. Fellas, happy late Thanksgiving to you.
Hey, happy late Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy late Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Thank you, both of you.
I hope you're stuffed with stuffing.
You know, I had some good luck. Pumpkin pie is best pie. Come at me. Fight me. Pumpkin pie is best pie.
You know, I actually did not have any pumpkin pie this go around. I
didn't either.
Pecan pie and like a turtle chocolate pie.
Oh yeah, I do like a good French silk pie, but like around fall, I mean, a pumpkin pie and just a glob of freaking Cool Whip on it. That's all I really need. Right. You know,
the pecan pie was really good though.
Sure. Yeah. But I think in Thanksgiving you're of two camps. You're team pumpkin pie or you're team pecan pie. I think.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm team pecan pie.
So now we can't be friends anymore.
I guess not. Sorry.
So Justin,
disconnected.
So Justin, moving on to better people. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. I would have to be team pumpkin pie myself. So
all right, so we're cool.
I guess we can continue doing the show.
No, before the stream, we decided we're all friends because Justin was playing some Street Fighter 30th, and
yes,
we all decided, hey, you can tell a lot about a person by the first game they play in that collection, and all three of us picked Third Strike.
That's just the right choice to pick.
Right.
Unless you're of the mindset where you're jumping in and you're like, okay, I want to experience Street Fighter from the beginning and go chronologically. Yeah. Then I can see you starting with the original Street Fighter. But
you got to start from the bottom to get to the top. You know?
Right. Anything other than starting with Third Strike is just doesn't seem logical.
I would forgive you if you chose Alpha 2 as well, because Alpha 2 is a very strong candidate.
Alpha 2 is great. Alpha 3, though. I love Alpha 3. Alpha 3 was so good. Very good.
The Alpha series in general is still fun to play. Like going back and playing some of those, like the Alpha series in general are all pretty fun games.
They're all fantastic. What year did Alpha 3 come out?
It hit consoles in 1999. It hit the PlayStation in 1999, but I think its arcade release was 1998, if memory serves me correctly.
Yes, it did.
Woo.
Well, the Bacon of today's show is going to be us looking back at 20 years ago, 1998. I was 13 years old, and 1998 is the year of dreams as far as gaming is concerned. And even when something is as packed as 2017 came around, they all still also said it's as good as 98 was. So today, later on, we're going to dive into the year that was 1998. But first, let's dive into what is the year 2018.
You got it.
Okay.
Black Friday deals. Obviously a lot of gaming people keep their eyes out for Black Friday deals and Cyber Monday deals. Did you guys get any sweet deals?
Justin, I'll let you go first.
Okay. I mean, I just got one thing. I actually was looking at quite a few things. For example, the Street Fighter 30th anniversary collection was on sale for $19.99 at quite a few places, and I decided to actually go a different route, and I got it beforehand anyway on PC. But I looked at a couple of things. I almost picked up Starlink, the Star Fox Starlink bundle, because it was like $39 or $34 $99. It was really cheap, like half off.
Right.
So at that point, I was like, well, I might as well get it. But no, I only got one thing, and it just came in the mail today. And that was because I'm prepping for Smash Brothers. It was my Smash Ultimate GameCube controller, which just came in the mail today.
That looks sexy. That looks sexy.
Who knew that in 2018 I'd be buying one of these bad boys? Yeah. But I have GameCube controllers, but I was like, you know what? I want to go all in with Smash Bros. So Ultimate is I'm just prepping for everything with Ultimate. So I picked that up for $20 through Target with free. I did it online, free shipping, and it was at my door today. So no problems with that.
Nice.
I'm gonna take my chances. I want to take my chances and play Smash with the Switch Pro controller because
I've heard it's not bad though.
Yeah, I'll definitely. It's better than the Joy-Cons because those things are probably going to, especially on that boxy thing. It's going to be just garbage. So I'm looking forward to at least the Switch Pro controller.
I'm going to be honest with you, like playing a little bit of the Switch, because as we've all were talking about, like I did a lot of travel over the 2 weekends, Thanksgiving and the weekend before, and I took my Switch with me and played quite a bit in the car, and the Switch is not comfortable to play for an extended period of time.
No, it's not.
It's not comfortable to play at all. Yeah. So I'd almost rather play with the boxed like Joy-Con grip. But you know, I have a Pro controller, and I think that if I wanted to play Smash with that, I think it would be just fine. But I didn't want to leave the GameCube controller behind.
Well, if you hate the Switch control, hate playing the Switch on long periods of time, imagine that gigantic PS5 controller.
Yeah, I bet it's more ergonomically correct though.
You know, this is digressing a little bit, but there was actually somebody pointed out today that there was a patent that was filed for by Sony for cartridge, like a new type of cartridge media, which again is making me wonder, Sony, what are you doing with PlayStation 5? Is the controller going to be some sort of portable hybrid?
Are they jumping the shark? Are they conforming?
Maybe.
I don't know if it's that they're conforming. I think that I think Sony's worried and they feel like they've got to have a good hook with PlayStation 5 because they feel Nintendo nipping just a little bit, mostly in Japan.
Right.
Because Nintendo is pretty much caught up with Sony's distribution in Japan for PlayStation 4. Obviously not worldwide, but also I think Sony is really worried about Apple and Google with Project Stream and whatever Microsoft is doing as well. But
as they should be.
Like I said, I digress.
Stop digressing. What did you buy?
I bought a new oven and range.
Yes, you did.
Yes, because I blew my other one up.
Yeah,
I blew my other one up right before Black Friday, so I did not get to buy anything fun for Black Friday, unfortunately.
Boy, your place. First, it was the leak.
Yep.
And then the oven exploded. And
I know. I don't want to touch anything.
You should probably move.
Maybe. I might have to.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if I didn't have to have purchased the oven, Starlink definitely was on my list because $40 is a steal, especially for that Star Fox version that's on the Switch.
Yeah.
I grew up like Star Fox was my favorite game back when I was just a 13-year-old little watchman. I loved that game so much, and to be able to have that little replica model is like a dream come true. But alas, it's a dream that's out of my hands right now. But
yeah, if anything, just to have that model R-Wing just sitting on your desk, that's enough for me is to have that. But
so Starlink was really tempting. Also, really tempting was Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yeah,
and not that I will ever have the time to play it. But the fact that it was only $35 at Walmart, dudes, $35. Nintendo games like that never go on sale.
Never go on sale.
And they're the first party Nintendo games. Yeah.
Right.
And by the time you go back to buy it, it'll be $59.99 again.
Oh, it is. It's already. I think they've got it right now for like $50, which is like, you jerks. So I wanted that. I also really wanted Dragon Quest 11. I saw Best Buy had Forza Horizon 4 for $30.
Yeah. Worth it.
The only thing I bought was I renewed my PlayStation Plus subscription like a jerk, because they had the 12 months for $40, which is a good deal for that scam.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
But
yeah, now's a really good time if anybody needs to up their subscription because all those cards will go on sale.
yeah, I think Xbox has 6-month Xbox Live subscriptions for, I want to say, $30.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. Anyway, so disappointing game-wise for Black Friday for the old Watchmen.
You know, I feel you as well. I picked up a couple. I think I got NBA 2K19 for $30. I got.
that's not bad.
Then I bought NBA Live for the Xbox for like $15.
Okay.
Then I got
NBA Playgrounds 2, and
No,
then I
that
bought
one I
a
passed on.
basketball, and I don't know. I just decided to
one
get
I
out of the
passed on.
house.
And then I put a hoop on my door.
Yeah. Well, I'm the basketball guy. You know. I'm the hockey guy first and foremost. Anyway, I bought like that Guilty Gear Xrd
Oh,
Rev 2
yes,
bundle
you
did.
for $14. So I have Xrd Rev 1 for PS4, but with this on Steam, it was Rev, all the DLC characters, and the Rev 2 upgrade for $14. I went, done, bought it.
I should have.
So
done
did
that.
it explain how the heck or what the heck's all going on? Because remember that was a conversation back at Evo. Like, so this game's fun to watch, but I have no idea what's going on.
Oh, Arceus games like that, Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear, no idea. They're beautiful to look at. I just have no idea what's happening. So Guilty Gear, I have more of a grasp on than Blaze Blue. I do Blaze Blue, but still. What else did I pick? I think I want to say I picked up. I almost bought Hitman 2. It was on sale for like $27 physical.
Oh, yeah.
I almost bought that for Xbox.
That
It
would
was
have been
sold
a
down
good
on
buy.
Amazon. Odyssey was on sale for that same price for physical for Xbox and PS4.
Yeah.
But I said no. It's kind of the main because my folks still go out and buy games for me sometimes. So that was kind of my first thing was that.
Well, that was the thing that was holding me back too. Is I was like, people were talking about like Christmas coming up, and I was like, well, I don't want to buy everything, but I told a few people, I'm like, look, there's a lot of good deals going on right now, so if you're gonna buy anything, do it over the next few days because everything's cheap.
I did buy that Houston Outlaws Overwatch League T-shirt for $6. Normally on sale, normally for like $30, on sale for $6. I went,
nice.
Yep. Shipping cost as much.
Oh.
So still hasn't got here yet. I'm assuming because the Thanksgiving and the Black Friday delays.
Sure.
So it's not been here yet. That's kind of been my main stuff. I think that was it as far as my gaming stuff is concerned. Because the rest, I'm like, I really want a PSVR. I really want a PSVR bundle because they're like $200 for the game, and like one of the best games for that Astrobot rescue thing. And I want to play Tetris Effect in VR. So I may still, if I can find it somewhere. If I don't get it for Christmas, I'll find it and buy it because I want to play that Tetris Effect in VR.
I don't think you're gonna find it at $200 again for a while.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe not until PS5 comes out.
Right.
PSVR 2 comes out.
That was another one that if I didn't have to buy a stove, I would have been really tempted because it had Astrobot, which is supposed to be one of the best games, the best VR game, basically, packaged in with that bundle. So that was another one that was hard to refuse.
Okay, do you like the Houston Outlaws as well?
You mean you didn't want to get Skyrim VR?
I did.
I would totally play Skyrim VR, except I'm a pansy when it comes to spiders, and if there are spiders that are as tall as me, I will scream like a girl and throw the thing across the room. It will shatter, and I will cry.
In Elder Scrolls 6, the spiders will actually be bugs in the game.
Oh, see how that works?
Yeah.
Much like Fallout.
I really, at some point, want to try Resident Evil 7 in VR.
Oh, God.
No,
Have
fun.
fun.
No thanks.
Oh, I really want to.
Go for it. You go for it.
I love the horror games. You guys know that'd be so much fun.
You're just a tougher man than we are.
I'd
You're
still
all
scream
man.
like a girl. That's okay.
I watched the I think I watched Xavier Woods do a playthrough of Resident Evil 7, and I was through my computer screen. I was freaked. I'm like, okay, nope, not. I want to see it, to know what it was, and appreciate it. I'm good. Thank you. Next.
I'll get there eventually. It's sitting in my backlog.
Yeah. Yeah, Justin's a London Spitfire fan. He's the bandwagon London Spitfire fan.
Hey, I picked them before they won.
That's true. It is true. I can vouch for that. I look forward to season 2, man.
I do too.
Looking forward to it.
The new teams.
we were mentioning Skyrim VR and about
Yes.
Skyrim and the bugs and how that leads to the most talked about game for all the wrong reasons, it seems,
Yeah.
Fallout 76.
Segway alert.
See how I pulled that from the brink and made it a thing.
Excellent
Dave,
segue.
Dave, you had said you had something to say about Fallout 76.
Well,
Wait,
just
Brink? Who makes Fallout 76 again?
Bethesda.
Bethesda, which
Who
also
made
made Brink.
Who else? Yeah, they made Brink. Another good segue. Nice little mention there.
Brink was a good idea, I thought.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I do too.
go ahead.
I was
Anyway,
just gonna say
Dave.
it's not a good look for Bethesda to have Fallout 76 on sale for about 50% off, maybe a little bit more than 50% off a week after release. Just
Yeah.
not very good. Then there was this whole controversy where apparently they said that for a brief hot second they're like, all right, if you don't like the game, we're going to offer refunds on it. So people are like, cool. So some people try to get refunds and then they send this thing back. We're sorry, we can't refund you because you bought a digital copy.
Oh.
Now, if you're playing on PC, all you could do is buy a digital copy. And I
Yeah.
think some of the fancy special editions were also digital copies only. So I think if you just got like the vanilla PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions, then you would have gotten a physical disc.
Couldn't they just remove the licensing though?
I don't know.
Huh.
It's really funny because one of the bugs that was in the Fallout 76 beta was that it removed the beta client.
Erase the
Right.
beta.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, so they were basically like, all right, if you got a digital copy, sorry, you're out of luck. Now, what's even more painful is Bethesda refused to release the game on Steam. Steam has its own refund policy where if you play a game for less than a certain amount of time, they will
Yep.
give you a refund on it if you don't
Right.
like it and take it out of your library. But because Bethesda insisted on releasing it through their own network, you don't get that privilege. You're just at the mercy of Bethesda. Just
Interesting.
really underhanded stuff from Bethesda. Like Bethesda you always had this impression that they were very very oriented towards their fans. Like they listened, they actually
Right.
cared, but this move, the whole Fallout 76 thing has really painted the company in a bad light, and I'm wondering if going into like E3 next year if they're going to be the new EA for 2019.
Well, I know like if you have an Xbox copy, they have a similar program like Steam. Like if you bought digital, you can, if you played it less, I think in 2 hours, you can contact Microsoft and get a refund.
Right.
But like you said, like it's interesting that they said, okay, we're going to do this, and then certain people couldn't do it. And like you said, the caveat to it all is that they didn't release it on Steam. So now you have to
Yep, they got
go
you by
through
the
Bethesda.
cojones.
But
Katie Does Game says, have you guys seen the several Skyrim strings within the coding for 76?
It doesn't surprise me, I
Yeah.
guess. But
So not
Right.
only are they using the same engine, but they're copy and pasting code from another game into that game, which I guess is something that probably happens, but
well, and this game kind of came out of the blue, and it was kind of, it was a little bit quicker than, a little bit quicker release than what we expected as well.
I wonder what the total development time really was behind Fallout 76.
yeah, I wonder if this is just kind of a, hey,
70,
this name is...
76 minutes.
There you go. 76
But
teraflops.
seriously, was this like a 12 to 16 month game?
Do you think it was just, hey, like this name is still hot, let's get it out there while the name is still hot, get us something that we can quickly put out there to kind of satiate the crowd until a proper Fallout 5 on the next gen of consoles and next next iteration of Fallout.
Several years for Fallout.
Oh,
even
yeah,
within
'cause-
their own release
Right.
schedule, because you've got
You got Starfield.
Starfield that has come out in Elder
Starfield,
Scrolls
Elder
6,
Scrolls
so you're
6.
looking
Yeah,
at,
Scroll 6, right?
Maybe because they don't want Fallout to sit on the shelf for that long without something out there. Maybe
And that's
just
not
kind of
even yeah, like you guys said, that's not even to mention the games that are, the more recent releases that are going to come out, because you got Doom Eternal was coming out next year, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So like, I mean, just think about it. Like this game, I think kind of did a little more harm than it did
Oh, yeah,
help,
sure.
of course. But
So KD Does Games is in the chat saying that 90% of the game is just a reskin of Skyrim coding, and the final boss of the game has a lot of Alduin's coding, which it was one of the bosses in
I
Elder
could see
Scrolls.
that.
I don't know if that was the last boss because I did not get through all of Skyrim.
I mean, you have so many chances to do so on every single. You could play that on your Alexa.
Yeah, you
I
did.
know I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So-
it's a really horrible look for Bethesda, and I wonder if this was just something where they're like, oh my gosh, we have to have a major title to get out for holiday, and they just rushed this thing out to fill in that hole.
So we want to bring this up real quickly because I found this comment that I think Kotaku put an article out about an update coming out in December to fix some of the bugs and add more stash and to take care of some issues. And the first I don't normally read the comments because it's just a no man's land.
Right.
But this one caught my attention. So if indulge me for a quick second here, fellas, if you would please. This is from Kotaku, but the commenter.
My indulging hat.
Thank you. It fell. But I think fans could probably stand to, I'm saying, quote.
Yes.
But I think fans could probably stand to refine our approach to giving criticism as well. The thing is, I don't think there are very many people that actively want to hate the game, except maybe a handful of clickbait YouTubers leveraging their rage and cynicism for views. The fact of the matter is that the anger and the outcry and the passion for most fans is because they want to love the game. I'm going to come back to that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of employees at Bethesda put a lot of hours into making this game, and they're simply the worker bees that try to make honey with what they were given. Despite the people at the top giving them a deadline they couldn't meet, I imagine it probably feels absolutely gutting for them to see people ripping their efforts apart with such vitriol. But the reality is that behind the vitriol, what the fans are primarily trying to do is to give them feedback. It isn't just criticism, it's constructive criticism.
Sure.
But, that being said, I wonder if the message can get lost behind the anger. Instead of telling these employees how angry we are, or how they better fix the game or else more anger will come their way, perhaps the community, the fans, the developers, and the game itself would be better served if we expressed our willingness to see the game succeed and our willingness to communicate with them in a constructive way to help them reach that goal. This seems to be the way it works with games like Overwatch. I don't see why it can't work here as well, end quote.
There's where I start to differ with the opinion with, we should see the games, people should be willing to see the game succeed. I understand where they're talking about the hate being misdirected and everything, and it should be constructive criticism. I agree with that. The anger, I don't think, is directed at the poor worker bees who are sitting there like slaving away and coding and working through crunch and all of that. That's not where the anger is really directed. The anger is directed towards people like Todd Howard, the people who are actually making the decisions. The guy who's sitting there coding, he doesn't make the decisions. He's just sitting there coding.
Right.
And I think that does get lost behind all the vitriol because sometimes it's fun to try and be as vitriolic as possible. They do that for clicks. They try to get attention through their hate. And that's, it's not mature, but that's just the nature of the beast. But with that being said, I don't think it's a good thing for this game to succeed because when you have that type of success, that tells the decision makers at Bethesda and at ZeniMax, it tells the decision makers that what they did was okay, what they did was acceptable, and they can brush aside any type of player discontent because the players bought it.
Okay.
So
where I start to fall apart is when he had said that there aren't people who generally, what was that first bit again? I want to make sure I get this right. He says, I don't think there are very many people that actively want to hate the game. I differ with that. Mm-hmm. Because, and I compare this to something like a Metal Gear Survive, where just the name alone caused people to lose their minds, go anger, make their decision just by name alone, and just by mechanics alone. Before the game was even out and fully realized, people were review bombing Metacritic. And I know, Dave, you had said that was not the case, but you don't give a game a 0. No game is worth a 0. And there are multiple zeros on the user scores on Metacritic for this game when it had just launched. people weren't even giving it a fair chance. Now, I'm not saying the game is good because obviously it's not, but both have similar instances where, the fan base hears a title, knows the backstory, knows the mechanics, and just goes, nope, not for me. Screw this game. I'm going to bomb this. I'm going to hate this. I'm going to spit crap about it. I'm going to be angry about this. And it doesn't help anybody out. So the game is doomed to begin with.
Well, in the case of Metal Gear Survive, it was doomed because it was a really bad concept and a really bad cash-in.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was bad. That was bad timing. There was a lot of bad decisions leading up to that game.
But
for sure.
I don't think there was as much of a willingness to hate Fallout 76. There were a ton of people looking forward to Fallout 76. I would go out and talk to people like at comic conventions. I saw people cosplaying as Fallout characters, and I was like, hey, are you excited for Fallout 76? Yeah, I actually am. I mean, it's going to be different, but I'm willing to see where they're going with it. That was the response that I would get. So I don't think that there is quite the willingness to hate it. I think there's actual genuine disappointment from Bethesda fans that they've been sold a bad product. Now, there are attention seekers out there, of course.
Absolutely.
And I agree with that, with the comment in that context, that yes, attention seekers are wanting to hate the game so they can pile on with the most offensive, angry comments they can on their video to be funny and to get clicks and everything.
Yeah, and that's just the nature of the beast with the way that things are on the internet in 2018. That's why websites like Kotaku and even like Reset Era, like that's why they exist essentially. Like the fact of the matter is like Dave said, as much as I would love to see every game succeed, because this is an industry and a community that I've grown to love from a very young age. You can't just have everything succeed. There's got to be bad games for a reason. We have to be able to differentiate the good from the bad. The 1998 from, name another year that obviously didn't live up to 98, or you got to live up to the expectations. Not every year is going to bring you absolutely a 10 after 10 after a 10. You're going to get games that are not going to be very good. And Jeff is right. From the beginning, Fallout 76 kind of had a bad stigma, and it was probably because it wasn't Fallout 5 or what Fallout 4, whatever spinoff that was, like a New Orleans or New California or some weird thing. Because people wanted more of that, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I think people would have been satisfied if this game just were not broken. I think it was an interesting concept to have a Fallout universe that was populated by people. I think that is an interesting concept, but there's just so much of this game that is not working, and that's where the anger is. Justifiably.
All this being said, I still want to play this game later on down the road, to see if the people are, because you can still play the game offline. You don't need to be online to do this, so you can still play a game. I want to see how the updates go. I want to see how the community builds around this, because even games like when Elder Scrolls Online came out, it wasn't, it didn't blow its doors off. But now that there's no subscription fee, you pay one fee for the game, and then you're good. People love ESO. When the Division came out, first of all, people were kind of iffy on the Division when it came out.
Yes,
and then
you're right.
Updates happen, and then this game is fantastic. Destiny 1, that first year of Destiny was okay, and then by the time Taken King came out, the 1 year big update, boom, that game exploded. So I want to see how Fallout 76 does a few months from now, once the updates happen, once the community can calm down from the initial tire fire. I do want to see what this is, because it is still an important thing in gaming, because it's been such a discussed title.
Right. It'll definitely be interesting to see how things pan out over the next month or next few months. But my worry is that it's going to be too late to save this patient. By the time the updates roll out and it gets good, I think that's
looking forward to. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that's kind of the unfortunate caveat of this whole games as service thing. Games can come out now and not be polished and not be ready for prime time, and the publisher is just like, it's okay, it's all right if it's broken right now, we're going to fix it over the next several months. But I don't know if it does that game any service to release it broken and just depend on further hard work over the next several months to get it into passable shape that it should have been in at release.
Well, and we're seeing that a lot now with games as service, like just in general, just like gaming and a lot of where you're seeing games go. We look at games even like Street Fighter V, like how it came out and where compared to where it's at now.
Yeah.
Street Fighter V, where it came out and where it's at now is two completely different. Like the game it is now it's a lot more fun than it was back then, and there's there's so many different reasons. I could see Bethesda making Fallout 76 a lot better. I'd be interested to look at it a year from now, just to see what the player base numbers are like, see what the updates are like, see what they're doing. I know some people that are playing, they're like, it's just kind of it's fun, but it's like it is broken, and we can get over the broken part, but it just isn't that much to do. And then as we're seeing in chat, like people are talking about how like the nukes are broken, and there's that's all stuff that Bethesda can now take and work on. But like we were talking about at the beginning, we wonder what the time frame was and the deadlines the team was given to put this game out, because this game kind of did come out of nowhere. It wasn't like we were.
I'm starting to suspect that. I bet if we peeled back the layers of that onion, I'm betting it was a 12-month project.
And I think the idea was, hey, we're going to be working on Starfield mainly. Also, Rage 2 is coming out, Starfield's coming out, Elder Scrolls 6 is coming out. We need some Fallout thing just to hold people over until we get down the road, because it's going to be a while before Fallout comes out again.
I don't have any proof to back this up. I would suspect that they wanted Rage 2 out for holiday this year, and they found out that, hey, it's not going to be ready.
Not going to be out.
So they rushed Fallout 76.
Holy crap, I forgot about Rage 2 there for a little bit.
I know, and this tarnishes Bethesda's name, so that's going to hurt that game going forward.
How could you forget Andrew WK?
I was just going to say, as soon as I thought about Rage 2, I thought about Andrew WK.
As you should.
It's the first thing that came up.
I think that game will still be good.
No, I think so too.
Speaking of dumpster fires that are already on sale.
Wow.
Battlefield 5.
Just
came out.
Dumpster fire is a little too strong, but okay.
Price at Target today. And only like $40 for the Steelbook edition over at Best Buy. That's not a good look when you're discounting by 50% a couple of days after the game came out.
Well, this just goes into my worry. I mean, I'm glad I didn't have to pay the extra for this as part of my EA Origin Access Premier account. But it's a good game. It's a very good Battlefield game. There's some smart quality of life improvements there. It looks tremendous. It plays great. But EA didn't put much stock behind this. It doesn't feel like. I mean, when you look at the Battlefield 1, just the push they gave Battlefield 1 coming out of the gates. I wonder if they saw Black Ops and went, "Oh crap, we don't have that. Let's put something out, and then it'll get better in time. We promise. December, and then next year Battle Royale. It's coming in pieces. Just please buy it now."
I think this one's going to be forgotten by.
Yeah, but by the time the Battle Royale mode's out, it like you said, I think it will be forgotten. I mean, I'm not saying it won't be good. I'm not saying the Battle Royale mode won't be good. I mean, there's going to be other things to play.
And here's the kicker. NPD numbers just came out for October, and Call of Duty is already, within 1 month of release, it's already the best-selling game of 2018.
More so than Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah, that is absolutely insane.
And look, Black Ops 4 is a really good game.
Yeah. I think the lesson here is that when a video game exec gets too high and mighty and too uppity and actually tells players that are complaining about something, well, just don't buy our game, those players are going to listen. And you're going to get screwed in the end.
And bro, Traction brings up a good point. The slower paced nature, and then shooters that are more Battle Royale heavy. And the Battle Royale is coming, and I think it'll make sense in Battlefield. But I think just the timing and the fact that the game is really not complete, really, is kind of a big thing. And it's not really much different than Battlefield 1 was. It seems like it's Battlefield 1.5 or something, you know? It seems like this should just be an expansion to Battlefield 1 at some point. So I think if they... Go ahead.
I was going to say, what's wrong with EA? Why can't they get it right?
I don't know. I think that maybe they're putting their stock too much into this whole like streaming service thing, and that's going away from the game development. And I just... Because really nothing big is coming. Because even with Anthem coming out, they're not talking about Anthem.
They're not.
And that's kind of their big thing coming out in the first quarter of next year is Anthem. And people say, "Oh yeah, Anthem's coming out." That's a problem.
That is a huge problem.
That's a huge problem. And my answer for that is just money. It's executives and higher ups that they're just like, put these names out, put these, they're just kicking. They're not really worried about the product. They're just worried about the money. And that would be my thought. But I'm not. An expert when it comes to like that part of it or anything. And I don't work for EA either. The other thing I would say too is what kind of is interesting talking about both these games that were we just mentioned, Fallout 76 and Battlefield 5. They both these games are being heavily marketed by Xbox and Microsoft. And they're both kind of like if you look at the commercials, they're both like some of the big titles or two of the big titles you're seeing, like the commercials and the ads on YouTube and different things for them. And they've both kind of like lost a lot of luster. So that sucks as somebody who's an Xbox fan. That sucks for me because I don't want that to hurt the brand. I don't think it will, but it just stinks because of course, they put a little bit of money behind it and get the marketing to it. And you see like these games have the negativity that come out with them as well.
The big thing Microsoft can do is go, hey, by the way, Gears 5 is happening, and oh, by the way, Halo Infinite's over here.
Right.
And, right. They can show those things out there and go, oh, by the way, we're fine. We're fine.
The only other thing I was going to say is I don't like I don't like where the industry of like is headed in the sense that they're putting out unfinished products.
Yeah,
like it's been that way for a while. Like, oh, hey, we're going to give you like this half-eaten sandwich and you'll get the rest of it in a little bit.
I want to be like Meatwad. Oh, damn, you're giving me a half-eaten sandwich? Thanks, over.
That's what it feels like, though. I mean, and it's been going on for a little while.
That was amazing.
That was really good.
That was amazing.
That was really good.
Thank you for that.
But yeah, I don't like where we're headed with the Fallout 76 kind of being half done and Battlefield 5 being half done. I mean, like I said, we can go back to other games too. And then the other thing that made me think of, and it goes kind of into like the release of the Diablo and the Diablo mobile game and that fiasco that happened. I know in the end, voting with your wallet is what's going to make the difference. But when is enough from the fans in the crowd?
Yeah, we're starting to see it.
That's a great point.
When is the line in the sand drawn?
When it's Bayonetta versus Bayonetta in the finals.
Well,
that's the line. When it's Bayo,
you're not going to get that. I don't think you're going to get that with Ultimate. But besides the point, besides the point, like where's the line? Because I get that Fallout 76 may not have been what the majority of that crowd wanted. Sure, fine, whatever. I get that like Diablo mobile wasn't what they wanted, but they're doing it for a reason. I'm not saying that they're not saying that they're not working on what people want, but like there's other crowds out there. Like gamers are not just one crowd. So I'm starting to wonder as well that this conversation has made me think like when is enough? Like when is the line in the sand drawn?
You can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you'll just buy it anyway.
It'll be something to do with microtransactions.
And of course, not every game that people release is going to be a winner. I mean, like we just talked about Brink earlier. Bethesda released Brink, and that was obviously not a winner. So things happen.
Yeah.
Brochachi says that EA games are built-in microtransactions. If you look at Madden and FIFA, for example, they have game modes that are pretty much pay to play.
And granted, those modes have been there for quite some time. Granted, you don't need to be partaking in that. I don't buy packs with actual money. I buy with in-game currency, which I can do on a regular basis. Right. But I'm not a competitive player though. But you look at and people aren't complaining about that because that's how EA gets their money, first of all. And sports fans, this is their big game every year. People buy Madden, people buy FIFA, they get Call of Duty, whatever.
Yep.
But those two are the big titles for EA, Madden and FIFA. and people just dump money into it and don't complain about it because that's the one thing they say all year. I'm gonna do Madden this year, and then EA makes their money off them.
I wish we could go back to where EA and just one company didn't have exclusive rights to all these different sports.
Right, I agree.
Even Sony with MLB.
Yeah,
I wish that they didn't have the exclusive rights to baseball.
Yeah, man, I'll bring back NFL 2K.
Yeah, remember that final year 2005?
2K5, best football game ever made.
2K5, so good.
Released for $20.
Best football game ever. Besides Blitz, it's the best football game ever made. EA also has the rights to Blitz.
Yeah.
That Blitz game at EA.
Well, the bell might toll here for microtransactions because word is just breaking that the FTC is going to start looking into loot boxes.
Right, so that is true as well. Well, the big push with Battlefield was because I remember when I watched the the press conference for it or whatever, they had like that one random like Battlefield like hour-long show or whatever it was, and like who was it hosted? It was the nightly show.
Oh yeah. Trevor Noah.
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh no, Battlefield 5, we're not going to put any like microtransactions in.
Yeah,
like it's not microtransactions.
Macrotransactions.
They're making sure that they're distancing themselves from that. But then they put out this. I mean, I don't know. It's a bad look. Sucks, but
if anything, it should be another lesson. Just like Bethesda, treat your customers with respect. Yeah. There were. The fans of Battlefield were not happy with the non-realistic approach. They didn't have to insult them by saying, don't buy the game. They could have said, look, what we're doing with this is a little bit different. We understand that there are fans that would appreciate the historical perspective that we take in the past, but we wanted to allow our development teams to have a little bit more freedom with this version of Battlefield. So that's what we've done. We're taking this chance, and we hope that you'll check it out and enjoy it. We understand this isn't historically accurate, but it's not meant to be historically accurate. It's just it's a fantasy set in
it's
World
a video
War II,
game,
sort of like a game version of Inglorious Bastards or something like that. So check it out, enjoy it, and then we'll revisit what we want to do with the next versions of Battlefield. If they had said something just like that, then this whole thing would have blown over, and you wouldn't have Battlefield 5 discounted at 50% today.
Right.
Anywho.
As far as the loot box thing is concerned, before we move on, I like loot boxes. I think that's kind of cool, as long as it's in-game money, and they can get around a lot of the gambling stuff by showing you what you could get. I mean, if you know exactly what you're paying whatever money for, you can bypass a lot of that. Well, it's not gambling. Okay, I know what I'm getting into. I'm fully aware of what my options are, what my options could be. I like the idea of loot boxes. It kind of gives me it keeps the game fresh, like, oh, what can I get? Excitement, and then dealing with that. And I think that my game is different than your guys' game because I have different boxes, different skins, different stuff. So I hopefully they don't get too hands-on with that and keep the loot box concept alive. Maybe a spin the wheel, make the deal kind of thing. But I just, as somebody who
box that has a chance for real money. That's all I want.
Yeah.
It's real gambling.
There's certain games that do it right. Overwatch being the
Overwatch is the bar.
I mean, that's the one that does it correct. You can buy the boxes with in-game currency, or you can buy them with, you can buy things with real money, but you get enough to where you're not feeling like, oh my God, I'm not getting anything.
Yeah. And Hearthstone, you open packs in Hearthstone with gold, either with actual money or in-game gold. You can open packs and you get 5 random cards. I love that. I love that. I love opening a pack. This is now going to be my deck. Oh, now I've changed the way that I'm playing this game. Oh, speed. Oh, I'm not sure why I went into speed racer mode there.
I don't know what's going on.
I'm worried that gaming is definitely getting away from the act of making something fun or making something artistic, and it's just
it's the business. It's the business. It's the money. It's the corporations. Bring them down. No, it's just we need to.
Yeah, I don't want people to not make money. I mean, I definitely want people.
No,
to make
not
money,
at all.
But we need to go back to their games for gamers.
Yeah,
as opposed to
Toe Jam and Earl.
Yeah.
These
shout
are
to shout to those guys. Hopefully we see them, and we would love to get review codes.
well, and the thing, the discussion of should games be more expensive than $60? Well, this was one way for them trying to find ways to make money to recoup the cost to make games that cost more than what you're just going to get with just a $60, price tag. Or for example, there's games out there, and I know it's kind of like it's the most popular game in the world still, but you look at like Fortnite, it's free to play, but they're making boatloads of money because they give you the option to buy things, and it is what it is. But I think it's a cash grab, but they're trying to figure out a way to recoup their costs.
Yeah,
Games
and that's
aren't
understandable. Games are more expensive to make than ever, but we've got to move on.
Yes, we do, and we will go to a game that that cost a lot of money to make, many man hours, female hours, people hours. Red Dead Redemption 2, because Red Dead Online is starting to roll out. Act like the Autobots to transform and roll out. And I played about that much of it thus far. So they're rolling out what's called the Red Dead Online beta. Today is Tuesday the 27th.
Yep.
If you have the ultimate version, you're playing it right now, as do I. Tomorrow, Wednesday the 28th, you can play Red Dead Online if you played Red Dead on launch day.
Okay.
You get it tomorrow.
Okay.
You can play the game play online on Thursday if you played Red Dead during the launch weekend. And then Friday for everybody else.
Okay.
What they're doing is they're rolling this out. That way, it does not catch on fire like the GTA Online servers did, making it impossible to play. So the idea is that they're rolling out this beta for a full launch later on down the road. I played the intro a little bit. I had no problems connecting. So that's a breath of fresh air for me. No problem connecting.
Nice.
You start by choosing male or female. And the story and you make your character. Not too many custom options just yet as far as hair and facial hair and stuff. I'm assuming you get them as you might rank up. But you do profile, and then you are a prisoner. The opening scene is you and some other prison mates being taken to a work order in Rhodes. And as the two guards are carrying you by stagecoach to your work assignment, a group of bandits hijacks the cart and frees you and your companions, and tells you, the character, to stay behind.
So it's Skyrim.
We're getting close, yeah, pretty much. Alfred Stormcloak, the Jarl. Anyway, you are taken to this camp with this bandit to meet this lady. And then you find out that you're in jail because you are accused of killing her husband, and you are set to hang for this death. Now she knows that you didn't do it because the bullets that killed her husband are not the same bullets that appeared on your gun at that time in Blackwater, which is the town that you appeared in, that her husband got shot at, and you were wrongfully accused for that murder.
So was she like a forensics expert or what?
Well, she said like, hey, these are the bullets. These aren't your gun. This was not in your gun. We know. And then they're gonna help you get your life back on track, and they want to also have you help them seek vengeance to right the wrongs and avenge her husband.
This is like,
and that's your setup.
That's too convoluted for an online mode.
That's your setup. And
that sounds like a story mode. That sounds like something should be in
because there are story missions in this. There, of course, is free roam, and there's the gang shootouts and the deathmatch and the PvP aspect to it. Much like GTA Online did. There are story missions that you can do, or just say screw it and do free roam missions. So you can do whatever you want. And you saw the picture of my dude already in his garb and looking like a what did David call it was a sunmama. And I'm excited. Like I said, I played very little of it. I got to that part, setting up camp right now before I kind of get let loose into the world and kind of take in all the objectives. So I'm looking. There is a battle royale mode, from what I'm hearing, that is basically just you with a crossbow and a knife, which sounds cool.
Okay.
But yeah, I've not been let loose in the world just yet. I'm still doing the tutorial stuff to get into it. The server did crash on me once when I tried to match make with other people. So when I'm done here, head back over to the Xbox and try that out. But I'm excited for Red Dead Online. Again, today for Ultimate, tomorrow for launch day players, Thursday for launch weekend players, Friday for everybody else.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll
and
see how that
it's a free add-on.
progresses.
It costs you nothing to get involved in it. It just pops in the game.
Kidding? I get thrown in jail. Wrongly
Okay.
accused of murder. All right.
Yeah.
So enjoy that. Storm. And I'll say again, the voice acting on this, I've heard the voice acting of different characters, top notch. This is amazing, atmospheric, like the lighting, the smoke. It reminds me how good this game is. Oh my god! All right.
Well, with that being said, we're an hour in. It's time to move on to our main event.
Yes. So,
all right,
gentlemen, as good as this year has been for gaming, as better as 2017 was in gaming, they still all pale in comparison to 20 years ago, because 1998, we're celebrating 20 years.
In the year 2000, I mean 1998.
There we go. We are celebrating the 20-year anniversary of what many consider the best year in video gaming. So, again, I was 13 years old. I'm not sure how old you guys were. I was Justin, you were younger. Dave, you were older.
Yeah.
There's your old man Winter over there.
You know it.
So thanks to Wikipedia, which, by the way, donate some money because it's that time of year. Just a list of games here. But before the games, the events that took place in 1998.
Yes.
So let's hit the Wayback Machine here. Let's talk 98. So the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences hosts the first annual Interactive Achievement Awards and inducts Shigeru Miyamoto to the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
All right.
Well deserved.
I can't believe that's been 20 years ago. Wow.
The British Academy of Film and Television Arts hosts the first annual BAFTA Awards.
Wow.
This is a good little segue here. Take-Two Interactive formed the Rockstar Games publishing label.
That's crazy.
Oh my god.
December of 1998, Rockstar was formed.
That is crazy.
I did not realize that.
Yeah. And the other big note here, the ESRB changed the K through A rating, the kids to adult rating, to E. That's when the E for everyone in February 1998.
That's 20 years old now. That feels like it was just yesterday.
Sure is. So I guess I can go month by month here with some of the big stuff.
Okay.
Then we'll talk about the games of that month. How's that?
Sure.
January 12th, Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes.
Wow.
MVC. January. This could be in Japan though as well. So this is kind of the first release in any country.
Right.
The January 21st, Resident Evil 2.
That was that the US release? Yeah, that was, because 93 would have been or I'm sorry, 99 would have been Resident Evil 3.
That was the worldwide. Okay, so North America the 21st, Japan 29th, the PAL version on April 29th. The DualShock version came out August 6th in Japan, November 11th in the States of that same year.
Wow. So let's talk about Resident Evil 2 just a little bit. My gosh.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So Resident Evil 2, I mean, people freak out about the remake coming very soon. People say that's a highlight of Sony's E3 conference.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Now, I'm going to say Ghost of Tsushima.
Well, anyway, you're right. I'll go with that. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I'm not a Resident Evil fan per se, but even I know RE2 is a landmark title for horror games, survival games, for the PlayStation. Yes. That was a fantastic game.
Yeah.
And a dual 2-disc, if I remember correctly.
Yep, it was 2 discs. Definitely a landmark title, just for the ability to create a game as art. With how atmospheric it was. This was the year really that we got our first wave of really cinematic games, because we had the 3D revolution that occurred, back in 95, 96 with the launch of PlayStation and Saturn and everything, and Nintendo 64. So designers had to relearn how to design games in 3D. So they had those couple of years to get those first games out, and now with this new 3D world that they can create. Now they're learning how to create pieces of art, how to create something atmospheric and cinematic, and that's what led to games like Final Fantasy VII, although that came out in '97. But then you had games like Resident Evil 2, which definitely started that trend that carried on through the rest of the '90s and into the 2000s with PlayStation 2.
For sure. Without RE2, this franchise dies.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
This was the anchor title.
Yeah.
And we would never have got the, let's call it superior, RE4. I mean, RE4 is considered the best in the series. I understand that. But without RE2, RE4 doesn't happen. RE4 never gets made.
It's a bedrock title.
There's a reason RE2 is being remade.
Plus, not just for that series, but for the survival horror genre as a whole. That's the game that's like the Street Fighter 2 of survival horror. And again, Capcom at the forefront of leading this new genre forward with Resident Evil 2. Because, the next year we had Silent Hill, and then there was just, freaking tremendous amounts of survival horror games that came after that.
Yep. And just look at the titles now. I mean, we briefly mentioned RE7 earlier in the show. Like obviously that's a great game as well, but like going down the line, like you said, without 2, and yes, it's literally the second one, but without 2, you don't see the survival horror genre, I don't think, take off.
Yeah,
like it did. 2 is fantastic, and I'm excited to play the remake. It's so good.
You're not alone. January 28th, the game that I'm holding right here in my hands. Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yep, that's what I had written down actually for our next one to discuss.
This game is tremendous.
Yes.
It's hard to believe that's a 20-year-old game, and we've never really seen too much in the way of a sequel. We saw Tactics Advance, which was an excellent Game Boy Advance game, one of the best. Yep, and I think we saw like a DS version, like Final Fantasy Tactics A2 or something like that.
Something like that,
right.
I think, yeah.
Right, but we've never seen a proper console sequel.
No.
And just, again, this genre spawned so many other games, like the Tactics Ogre, you see the Advance Wars, you're seeing like Fire Emblem stuff, like FF Tactics. People consider up even better than FF7. Like they're saying this is the best Final Fantasy game, period.
It's my favorite Final Fantasy game.
Wow.
I don't care. Tactics is my favorite Final Fantasy game. I love Tactics.
Not a big tactical RPG guy.
I'm not either, and that's what caught me off guard by this
game.
Game.
But with that being said, I still can see, after playing a little bit of Final Fantasy Tactics, how good of a game that really is. I mean, that is, again, another landmark title that really defined that generation of games.
If anything needs a remake, remaster, FF Tactics needs a remaster.
Yeah, so good. It's crazy that it's been re-released on like iOS and Android, but like you like you said, you haven't seen like a proper sequel.
How has it been forgotten by Square?
I don't know.
Because they're working on Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, well, it
seems like such an easy one for them to be like, "Hey, we need to do something with this property." But
that FF7 remake's taking forever. Looking forward into February. Let me know if I miss anything big.
Yeah, I don't have anything written down. I think for February.
So the Japanese release of Xenogears, which came out in the States
let's
October
cover
20th.
U.S. versions.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going off of that one page. They have the Japanese releases.
Honorable mention to Gex Enter the Gecko because I did play that a little bit.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. The 26th.
Did Dana Gold ever do anything after Gex?
I have no idea.
I don't know, dude.
I just saw Gex on TV the other day. Not even gonna lie.
Huh.
I'll probably come back to it because again it's showing in February, but Burning Rangers came out in February of that year.
One of the last great Saturn games.
Oh my god, dude! Like the Saturn is real quick. The Sega Saturn, well, it was not good when it came out. It's really fun to play now. Like it seems like it's got better with age.
Really? Very interesting.
Interesting.
It's gotten better with age.
Interesting.
February. Go ahead.
I was going to say, why don't I throw a March game out if you want to look at some of the February games and see if there's anything big, but I'll throw one out and see if if
Okay.
maybe somebody can talk about this a little bit. March 31st, another genre defining game, StarCraft.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Blizzard riding the wave of Warcraft, and then saying, let's take Warcraft and put it in space, and they
Right.
created one of the best
Right.
RTSs ever made in StarCraft One.
Justin, did you play
Period.
that much or?
I really didn't. I was gonna say I didn't play StarCraft. And a lot of it too was StarCraft being just the genre and the title. I never really even got into any Blizzard games until I got a little older. But man, I tell you what, like I know a little bit of StarCraft, just what I've watched and I've seen, and it's crazy to think that that game was in 1998. And to think of what they're doing now, like going back and revisiting, because wasn't StarCraft, like, it wasn't the original, but wasn't something being remade with StarCraft or being re-released?
It was
Not that
StarCraft
long ago.
One. StarCraft One got a remaster, I think, last year.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah,
I remember
full
hearing
on
about
HD, built up
Cool.
from the ground up.
Mhm.
What they're doing with
Interesting.
Warcraft 3.
So
Right.
what sets StarCraft apart from Warcraft aside from it being in space?
Well, yeah, the sci-fi aspect plus the fact that they, the fantasy stuff even then was kind of done to death. Like
Right.
Warcraft at that point was kind of seen as D&D.
Mm.
There really was no landmark. I mean, Star Wars, sure, but that really wasn't
Sure.
gaming yet. But StarCraft just pushed the boundaries as far as like the future technology and the character, like Jimmy Raynor and Kerrigan. I almost said Nance Kerrigan. Whoops, wrong thing. But no, Kerrigan, and it was great storytelling. They took what they learned that made Warcraft so good and made it even better and put it in space. That's what made it so
Right.
good, is because it's a better version of Warcraft in an area that's not been
They
done to
refined
death.
what they did with Warcraft. So
Yeah.
So, with that being said, why is Blizzard concentrating their efforts on Diablo Mobile when they should be concentrating their efforts on World of StarCraft?
You know,
Do you think if they gave StarCraft the MMO treatment like they did Warcraft, would it sell? Would it be good?
we've been asking for that for years. Like,
Well, where is it?
I don't know.
What's going on? What's going on, Blizzard?
I think that was just
Overwatch is happening.
I think that was a money decision. I mean, I think this with the mobile, because whether we like it or not, like the mobile gaming is growing and it, like crazy. I think they're just trying to do something to gain a little bit of traction and maybe get a little money there. But I don't think StarCraft is forgotten about. It'll be interesting because I think I could see them releasing, like that open world
Yeah.
version of StarCraft, but maybe not. Like Jeff said, Overwatch is such a big thing for Blizzard and such a time, constraint to them. Like you got to think that they're putting so much effort into that. But I would also have to imagine that their team's got to be big enough to have multiple projects. So,
And you got to think that it's hard enough for a team to keep a game like WoW up and running for as long as it has been.
right.
Yeah, and that's
To
a
not-
miracle, really.
To not only have a second one of those for that team, then saying, okay, you're splintering your fan base, and then also asking your fans to pay a subscription fee for both those games.
Right.
That's asking a lot of the player, because they're going to keep
Right.
WoW going until
That's true.
They're going to keep WoW going until it's a crater in the ground.
Well,
Because it makes them a bunch of money.
It's still making money, and it's hard to believe. Do you know next year will be the 15th anniversary of WoW launching?
Jeez.
Can you believe that?
Didn't they re-release the vanilla
Yeah.
WoW server or whatever?
That is the
Yeah.
ultimate evergreen title. I don't think a game has ever been that active for that long.
Well, I guess EverQuest is the only thing I think of that was even around that, right?
I don't think EverQuest lasted anywhere near.
Huh.
Because
I mean, anywhere in
out
the conversation,
90s.
I guess. Yeah. Maybe a quick one. Anyway, can we moving on?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
move on.
Arcade release March 19th in the States, 1998. Real Bout Fatal Fury 2. Never got actually, I got some home releases with the Neo Geo in April of that year. But arcade in March, Real Bout Fatal Fury 2.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know that there was a Super NES version of that game like in 94.
but the arcades...
The arcade in the U.S. never got it.
Well, according to Wikipedia, 98 in the States, arcade. Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit, the original Hot Pursuit, came out March 25th, 1998.
Yep.
Also on PS1 on the PC in October of that same year.
It's too bad that franchise is kind of dead in the water.
God, that died, didn't it?
Yes.
And here
EA,
we all thought that that Payback was going to be the big thing. That's last game, right? Payback.
We'll go with that.
Yeah, that was going to be a big thing. We all loved it. Awesome, cool, and then it just...
Yeah, It was really bad.
The
one before that
EA
was
game.
all right, and we've talked about this before, but the one before that had like the real live actors doing the cutscenes, which was the throwback to like the early CD-ROM era. Yeah, that was so
cool.
good because the acting was so cheesy, but
so
that
bad.
made it charming.
First person fist bumps. It was great.
Yeah.
Yes.
The same day as StarCraft, a PS1 game, not a great game, but a sentimental game for me, Blasto. Mainly because it was voiced by Phil Hartman, a voice of my childhood, tragically taken away from us way too soon by nefarious means. But that game had Sony put a lot of effort behind it. The marketing machine was far behind Blasto, giving it a big push, but not a good game, but a important game nonetheless. Also, on the N64, we saw 1080 snowboarding.
That was the next one that I was going to get to. March 31st, the next landmark title, 1080 snowboarding.
People love that game.
Yeah. I had a lot of cool memories playing that game on the 64.
Way cooler than Cool Boards was.
Well, indulge us. What was one of your cool memories of playing such a cool snowboarding game on the N64?
Cool.
What I was going to say, what I remember as a kid, not only playing it at home, but like for some reason, the dentist that we went to had a Nintendo 64 set up, and so I could play like whatever game, and he had this, and so anytime I'd go to the dentist, I'd pop in 1080 snowboarding because for whatever reason, it was just the easy game to throw in and play. It was not hard, but it was that kind of like Jeff mentioned Cool Borders. Cool Borders was
bad.
It was bad. It was not fun. And it felt so mechanical to play. Cool Borders was kind of one of the first snowboarding or extreme sports games. You get into like Tony Hawk and all those, like the skateboarding and different ones, the BMX, like the Dave Miras and all that, where it really like you had that analog stick and you could control like the spins and really get into it. It felt a little more fluid. You weren't necessarily feeling like it was so mechanical. Wasn't perfect, but it was definitely a fun game to play. That I felt like I really had a good handle on like what the character was doing.
Sure, it was fine until SSX came around.
Well, yes.
And then,
to be 2 years later.
Yeah. I am no way saying it's better than that, but yeah.
Make sure I got this date right on this. April 30th, 1998. Talk about great Saturn games. Panzer Dragoon Saga came out. One of the most expensive Saturn games nowadays.
That's the only game like that, and Burning Rangers are the only games that I ever really wanted to play on the Saturn.
Burning Rangers, also out 98.
Right.
Panzer Dragoon, and just continue the whole like Rez thing. I mean, went forward with Rez, that sort of stuff. But God, that game was just hard to go back to and play, but still an important landmark title for that system and that year.
Did you ever get a chance to play that?
No, I played Orta, which was the Xbox game.
Yeah, I played that as well.
Yeah, I think I've watched people play Panzer Dragoon Zwei, but I never actually played Saga.
I think I had a friend who actually had Saga.
Oh.
Yeah. I just have a vague memory of seeing just a little bit of it.
Let's see. I think that's April for me. Unless I wanted to mention.
I got one for April.
Go for it.
All right. This is maybe one of the biggest, maybe not one of the biggest titles of that year, but it would end up being one of the most important titles in history on April 30th.
Yep.
Unreal.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. I didn't say it because it said PC on May 22nd. So I'm not sure where April can become. But anyway, spring of 98, Unreal, which spawned the Unreal Tournament, Unreal Championship franchise.
Right. But more importantly, the engine.
The engine, yeah.
Boy,
I didn't have a PC, so I missed out on all these
Same.
excellent PC games. But I remember seeing all the advertisements, and it was basically a Doom/Quake clone, but it just
Right.
had really great graphics. That was the selling point. It was like, no, you're gonna want to get a graphics card so you're gonna get one of those 3DFX Voodoo graphics cards so you can
Wanna
play
get a Voodoo too?
Unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
God, what happened to them? 3DFX.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know. Meanwhile, Unreal is still happening. I mean, there's that Unreal tournament. I think there might still be an alpha at this point still, but there's
Oh
that
yeah.
Oh,
that
geez.
alpha / beta that's free to play that is coming along nicely. But the engine is still being used to this day to
Yeah.
make some of the best games out there.
Yeah, it's like the bedrock of the industry now. And it's so important as development costs skyrocket.
Like you look at how many jobs that game gave.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
If Unreal didn't come out, those jobs wouldn't exist. I mean, there'd
Yep.
be a different manner, but Unreal, man, landmark title for more reasons than just being a game.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
again 20 years ago. And it kind of went by, the 20th anniversary went by kind of unnoticed this year.
It did. It really did.
I don't remember seeing anything, and I was kind of shocked when I was
Mm-hmm.
doing the research for this, seeing Unreal. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that came out 20 years ago and nobody really mentioned it.
Right.
Anyway.
I mentioned this game earlier, but according to this, around May 1st, Tactics Ogre, Let Us Clean Together.
Let's cling together.
Yes. Also in let's go to anything else in May before I go to June.
Nothing in May, but I've got
Nothing
one
in
at
May.
the end of June for sure. I bet I know where you're
All
going.
right. I'm gonna get there, baby. June 4th, we'll start with Vigilante 8.
Yes.
Yeah, kind of the real first real. Yo, do you like Twisted Metal? Here's Vigilante 8.
Who
Yep.
made
The car
Vigilante
combat.
8?
That was, I will tell you. I actually have the second game on Dreamcast, but the first one was
Activision.
Activision, and Vicarious Visions was
Vicarious Visions.
the Game Boy Color version.
Wow. Yeah,
Well,
I
PS
remember. I'm pretty
developer,
sure I
Lux-
played that one. That was an excellent
Luxoflux?
game.
Luxoflux was the developer and publisher was Activision. Yeah.
You know, the car combat craze was right there with Twisted Metal, and later on with WWE Crush Hour. Oh boy.
It's hard to believe that nobody wants to do a car combat game in this day and age.
Well, that Twisted Metal game on PS3, I thought was pretty good. I mean, kind of a little more.
Well, Twisted Metal Black was excellent.
Black was cool,
Yeah.
man. Black was awesome.
That was one of the turnaround titles for the PlayStation 2.
I'm surprised Twisted Metal's not getting some sort of, not necessarily a reboot, but like a remaster or something, just because of that. Twisted Metal, I have more fond memories of that than Vigilante 8, but I remember Vigilante 8 very fondly just because my cousin and I played the crap out of that game.
It was just high quality, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think the fact that PS3 game didn't sell as well as it wanted it to, which hurts me on many. It was David Jaffe, first of all, that put that one out, was what hurts me on that level. But also, I mean, Twisted Metal should be better, should be in the lexicon of today's society as well. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just
Yeah, but
bring car combat back.
they were redeemed with Twisted Metal Black.
Right.
That came before. Black was PS2.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
Black was PlayStation. No, you're right.
Black is-
You're right.
Black is PS2.
Black
I'm
was two.
sorry. I'm getting mixed up.
It's okay. It happens.
Let's say they remaster or reboot it. You guys both in on a
right.
Twisted Metal game, though?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Bring it
And
on.
also Vigilante 8.
But yeah, I
would
was
play
saying
both.
back to Vigilante 8. Yeah, it was like you said, it was a more realism, spoof on that.
In today's day and age, they could go so far with the car combat genre. They could make like
Yes.
these huge open cities, open worlds, and everything.
Car combat battle royale. I'm just kidding.
Yes.
Yes, they could.
You can
No,
see it.
seriously.
Good.
So you drop into a map, you start
Yep.
outside, and then you have to run and find a car. And they've got all these cars that maybe are randomly generated. Yes.
You say that, but I'm pretty sure H1Z1 did a battle
Like
royale
a
with cars.
vehicle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
But a
know like
game-
Fortnite and
but
other
a game that
ones
was
are
like
putting
Twisted Metal
vehicles in.
focused.
But I feel like-
yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Or
with
even
you.
if like when you came, like you landed, you came in, you were the car landed, like that was like you didn't get to choose your car, you chose it ahead of time or something. But like you said, like that would be pretty cool. Like to see if there's a way to spin that off.
Yep.
But I think if you did it without the car, it would be cool because there's that mad rush to get to a car.
To get to
and
a
then,
car, right.
Like, you can't find any weapons on the ground. It's like, if you run into another player, it's melee combat, but
Right.
the crux of it is like, I gotta find a car if I want to do anything. And if you don't
that
have a
does
car,
sound
you can
like
get run over and blown up real quick.
That does kind of sound like the H1Z1, like vehicular warfare or whatever it was, but
Did those cars in H1Z1, did they have weapons attached?
I have no idea.
I think you supplied your own weapons, what you picked up on the battlefield. Like you pick your ARs or whatever. But
So that's another element that could be brought in that's like Fortnite-esque. So
Sure.
maybe if you're on the ground, you can still collect like materials and stuff. So when you get in the car, it like takes a look at the materials you collected and it can construct weapons based off of those materials automatically.
Right.
So it's like
Yeah.
if you collect the right stuff, you've got like this big laser cannon or something.
Yeah.
That would be sweet.
I'm down.
Yeah,
I'm down for that.
I think I just came up with $1 million idea here.
You did. Keep it yourself now.
Yeah.
We all did. June 11th.
Zelensky's like, let me write this down.
Yeah.
I'm back, bitches.
Lawbreakers 2. June 11th. Let's keep the Capcom fighters coming. X-Men versus Street Fighter.
Oh my gosh, this was made by the Street Fighter 2 team, actually.
Yeah, this game is awesome.
It is so
This
good.
game is great.
It is so
All of these.
good.
This is a banner time for Capcom fighters, and it hurts me to see where they are right now. But back in the late '90s, early 2000s, there were some good Capcom fighters.
Yeah.
Yes.
How the mighty have fallen.
Well, let's see. The next year we would see Alpha 3 released on the home console. I think next year was Darkstalkers 3.
Yeah, because Alpha 3 was arcade in 98.
Yeah, we were just like a couple of years away from Marvel versus Capcom 2. God.
And there's a couple more Capcom fighters in this year that I'll mention here in a little bit.
Yes.
One that I have here in my hands. Where's they at? Okay, let's go. June 25th. In an amazing year of gaming, the game of the year, one of the best games ever made, period, the end, came out. Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
I think that was an international release because Symphony of the Night, I'm pretty sure, was 97 in the US.
I have. Let's see. Oh, okay, the Sega Saturn version was
Right.
It was in 98.
98.
Yeah.
Yep.
It still came out then.
97.
Wikipedia, you're stupid.
97 was PS1, right?
Thank you. 97 was PS1.
Yeah.
It's still,
But still.
Statement still stands.
But go on. You got a couple. Just go forward a couple days.
Yeah, okay.
And you can
June-
take
June
extrapolate that
29th.
statement and then put it to this one.
Yes.
June 29th on the N64, we saw Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah.
On my birthday.
On your birthday. How
On
did
my
that make you
birthday.
feel as a young? What were you turning 14?
Let's see, 98.
14-year-old ruffian in St. Louis.
I would have been 98. I would have been like 11.
11. A young 11-year-old
Yeah.
tough in St.
Yeah.
Louis.
Well, I would have been in Des Moines, but
A young 11-year-old tough in Des Moines would probably come into Software Etc. while I was working.
Oh
There you go.
man.
There you go.
Yeah, Banjo-Kazooie is like the standard bearer for like 3D character driven platform games. Like you know, obviously we talked about I talked about Spyro last week. You know, but Banjo-Kazooie is to this day still loved and adored. Like there's a reason that this bear and bird combo is still looked at as one of the best games that's ever came out because people love it. It wasn't hard or anything, but people loved playing that thing, loved exploring, finding those darn what were the puzzle pieces called? They always had like a funny name for everything.
Yeah, I don't remember. I will
Yeah.
confess, I never played Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh,
I didn't play it until the Xbox Live Arcade release.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I would say I replayed it on Rare Replay.
My biggest issue with that was is it collectathon. Like it was
It
just
is.
the first of those. Hey, get everything at the same time, and make sure you get everything. It's like okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
Jiggies. It was the Jiggies, I believe.
There you
it
go.
was.
There you go.
Jigsaw pieces. Yeah.
There you go.
I want to say the collectathons sort of evolved from the collection stuff that was in Yoshi's Island and then got extrapolated to the 3D world with not quite Mario 64. I didn't feel like that was a collectathon, but once we got past that into like, you know, like I said, Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie later on and a number of other 3D games.
I mean, Spyro, the original Spyro was definitely a collectathon.
Oh, yeah.
Like I just beat it, you know. I was like, man, I don't remember it being that much of a collectathon, but that's what it was. But like for me, like an 11-year-old kid, I was just like, cool. Like I'm going to go around and collect a bunch of jigsaw puzzle pieces because what else am I going to do?
To me, I feel like that it hurts 3D platformers, this move to being a collectathon. Kind of killed those for me for a little while, except with the exception of some of the Mario games, because those were all exquisite.
Yes. Okay, cool.
Jeff says yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, Banjo-Kazooie...
I'm not a Banjo guy, and I was more when Nuts and Bolts came out on the 360. I was down for that, but other than that, it was just it didn't appeal to me.
Well, with that being said, what do you guys think are the chances we're going to see a third Banjo-Kazooie game?
I'd say pretty high.
Really?
At this point, yeah.
I think it's pretty high. And I still think at some point Banjo comes to Smash Brothers.
Ooh, there you go. Would you say Bird and Squirrel was a pair, or Bird and Bear was a pairing that's on
like
par
Moose and Squirrel.
with Moose and Squirrel? Oh, I miffed that. All right, moving on.
Moving on. June 30th. June 30th, 1990, and the PS1 in the States. Really fun tube shooter N2O nitrous oxide.
Oh, I remember the ads for that. I never played it.
I don't think I ever played it.
Soundtrack by the Crystal Method. There's your 90s reference right there.
Holy cow!
There's your 90s fix right there. Okay, I'll see that for then. Are we good for June, fellas?
We're good for June. I'm looking at one in July.
We might be seeing the same one. July 1st, 1998. A game I have in my hand. Another Capcom fighter.
Oh, what's that?
Came out as Super Gem Fighter Mini Mix, also known as Pocket Fighter.
Oh, I knew you had your hand in your pocket.
I sure did, and I was fighting it. Pocket Fighter is one of my favorite fighting games, period, the end. Because the simplicity of it, and it took Street Fighter characters and Darkstalkers characters, made them cute, made them cuddly, made them ferocious. It put Akuma in a damn Speedo and goggles because he would swim through the stages. It was dumb. It was fun. You could create your own, there was a way to do an RPG mode. It was nuts. And I love Pocket Fighter. I wish they'd do another one of these.
I feel like I should be dedicated to finding you the most ornate custom artwork of Akuma in a Speedo possible, now that you've said that.
Sure. The Akuma guy from the Street Fighter the movie in this. Yeah.
Pocket Fighter was an excellent
It's
game.
so good. It's so good. Oh, let's see. The PS1 on July 14th. Activision started making really bad wrestling games because Warzone came out and began the string of the ECW stuff.
Yeah, that's not a title worth mentioning. I got a title on July 14th worth mentioning.
That was bad.
Yes, I know what you're gonna go with.
Are you saying what I'm thinking you are? Because that was October in the States.
Oh, in the States?
Mm-hmm.
Was it? Okay, all right, we'll get to that in October.
Yes. I thought that too. Almost said, but let me check. And no,
all right, sorry.
Yep.
See, the Wikipedia list is throwing me off right now.
I know.
Yeah, the Wikipedia list is a little off. Yeah.
Let's see. Back on to the Sega Saturn for July 31st. Shining Force 3 came out on the Saturn.
Wow, that's another game that I wish I could have played.
Another tactical role-playing game. Those games are expensive.
Yeah, I thought you said tentacle role-playing game.
I thought
tactical. Tactical.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's why I didn't play it.
You weren't allowed. You're 11.
Yeah.
Tactical. Now, moving forward to the best month of any year, August.
I would
'cause-
pitch an idea for a tentacle role playing game, but Sony's just gonna censor it.
Well, isn't Day of the Tentacle is a point and click adventure game.
That's true.
The best month of any year, August, because it gave the world me. So August 1st, 98, I turned 13 years old.
Wow.
August 21st, the game that would start the franchise, the game that would begin the whole shebang for Tom Clancy, Rainbow Six.
Yes.
The original Rainbow Six came out
That is so hard
on
to believe.
PC the following year for N64, PS1, Mac, Game Boy, Dreamcast. It was everywhere, but it came out first in the States, August 21st, 1998 on the PC.
And wasn't that the first Tom Clancy game?
I want to say it
really
was.
believe so.
I think it was.
I want to say that it was.
And it's hard to believe. So that came out in August. Hard to believe. 20 years go by. There's no 20th anniversary celebration or anything from Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Except for, hey, we're going to try and censor some things for China. Oh, okay, maybe not.
Yeah, they said that too.
Yeah. Man, these companies really need to be a little bit more cognizant of these landmark anniversaries and do something to celebrate.
We're doing it for them. So happy anniversary to Rainbow Six.
Right.
Siege is still one of the biggest played games on the internet today. And
that is
several years ago.
Kind of an unsung success story, really.
Yeah.
A game that was dead DOA technically on arrival. I mean, it literally dead on arrival. Like it showed up and they're like, all right, Siege, whatever. And then years later, they're doing a documentary about the damn thing.
Yeah, it's quietly huge.
Yes.
Yeah. That's moving on. That's okay. And we can't
about
say enough
Akuma
about the
and that Speedo again, aren't you?
The Rainbow Six. Moving on, the Rainbow Six Vegas games. Just that franchise all started in 1998.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was more tactical. It's become more action based in the more current games. But back then, you had to plan your attack. You had to tell your AI bots where you wanted them to go.
Yes, I remember. I think it was more difficult.
Yeah, it was very tactical, kind of like a Frozen Synapse style game.
Yeah, you had to really plan out your moves.
Yeah, which I was not ready for as a kid.
Nope.
Nope, not at all.
I come in and run and gun and shoot people. What is this thing I'm clicking on?
I had to tell them where to go. What?
No, it's just they're just people. August 31st, 1998 on the PS1, Mega Man Legends.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Which later became Mega Man 64 when that came out in 2001. But 1998, PS1, Mega Man Legends. I thought it was a great game, but I've not played it in a while, so I may have some rose-tinted glasses. But still a pretty cool game.
Don't think I played it. I just know that there was that brief period where they had announced Mega Man Legends 3, and then it just disappeared.
I don't have a fond memory of Mega Man Legends, so I don't really have much to say about it, other than the fact that I love Mega Man, and I don't really have a whole lot of memories with this particular title.
I just remember it was a 3D title, and it was pretty decent. It wasn't bad.
The 64 version was bad because one analog stick, but
oh god,
right?
Was the DualShock out by then?
Yes, because Gran Turismo would have been out the year before.
When did Ape Escape
Gran
come out?
Turismo was until 99, so no, the DualShock wasn't out yet.
Because it launched with Ape Escape, I thought, didn't it?
It launched in 99, around the time Gran Turismo... No. I'll take that back. I think it launched...
PS1 DualShock came out in the States August 27th, 97.
Okay, that's right, because Metal Gear was using it.
Right.
Metal Gear?
Yeah.
That'll come up later. August. Anything else, fellas?
Nothing for me in August. I'm staring at a big one for September.
Yes, there's a couple there. Same day, September 9th. We talked about Resident Evil 2. How about Parasite Eve?
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
How about survival horror games?
Liked that game a lot.
That fed right into Parasite Eve.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, just another game that I don't think I really have as many memories with this particular title, but I do remember enjoying it. Obviously, Resident Evil 2 kind of overshadows it for me and everything. But yeah, Parasite Eve is a great title. I'd be interested to revisit it now and see what I thought. You know what I mean?
It was what? How would you classify it? Like survival horror RPG from Square Enix or SquareSoft at the time.
There was some like supernatural stuff to it too. I want to say,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
more so than obviously zombies and all
Right.
that, but like some like supernatural stuff happened, like a psyops.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same day, a game that's recently come out to help celebrate the anniversary, the original Spyro the Dragon.
Yes, Purple Dragon. I love Spyro the Dragon.
At this point, I was kind of like, I thought it was too kiddie. I'm a teenager. I don't need this crap. I don't need Ratchet and Clank. I don't need Sly Cooper. I don't need the Spyro BS. I'm a man. This game.
Years later,
this game is fantastic.
Years later, where's
Spyro's
my Spyro?
Yep. Yeah, Spyro's a really great game. Like I said, I just replayed everything, beat everything. Like I said, I got the 120% mark because I got the extra level at the end, and it's a collectathon, but it's so like addictingly cute. It's hard not to play, play that game and enjoy it. So
yeah,
I have a confession. I've never played Spyro.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Then
I think
allow me to show you this reignited trilogy that has all three of them in one handy location. Now, how much would you pay
for your hands?
But wait, there's more. I don't have the game here.
Those hands, these hands.
So you're gonna get these hands. Braun Strowman, best thing in wrestling. Oh, I missed one.
There it is. There it is.
I
would like to get the reignited trilogy. Actually,
I definitely will. Probably on PS4, just because it's a Sony game to me,
Well, and the only reason I went Xbox is because I was like, you know what? If it's going to be in 4K, I'm just going to let it look as good as possible. Yeah, whatever.
Looks beautiful.
Before we move on, speaking of,
I missed one. I missed a game on August 31st. Tenchu Stealth Assassins.
Oh my God, that's right.
Wow.
There's another series I wish they would bring back.
Tenchu,
holy cow.
I guess they're kind of bringing it back with Sekiro.
Yeah.
I've heard that it has a Tenchu feel, just the way that it plays and plays with like verticality and things like that.
Yep.
Something I was going to mention real quick. We had covered it. Parasite Eve. Apparently, Square Enix had just renewed the Parasite Eve trademark in Europe recently, like within the last week. Yeah.
Interesting.
Speaking of which, speaking of Resident Evil, the RE Director's Cut DualShock version came out around the same time as well.
Yep.
Is this correct in the States? That is in November. Nope, that's a... Nope. Incorrect. Thanks, Wikipedia. You suck!
I got one for September 28th.
28th. Oh, yep, I'm with you.
Yeah.
You want to talk about landmark titles. You want to talk about games that changed the world 20 years ago, September 28th. An anniversary, again, another anniversary that went by without a blink of an eye from the publisher. Who wants to say it?
Pokemon Red and Blue.
Gotta catch 'em all.
The originals. While Japan was getting Pokemon Yellow that same year, they were already moving on. We were
that same month. Yeah.
Think of this. The world, the Western world, prior to September 28th, had no clue about pocket monsters or Pikachu or Pokemon training or anything like that. Nothing. And then all of a sudden, September 28th, the new dawn rises. Pokemon hits the Game Boy. Suddenly, Game Boys are in vogue again. Everybody has to have a Game Boy to play these things. Everybody needs a link cable so they can trade their Pokemon. Suddenly, kids are talking about this whole new lingo on the playgrounds at school. Just
this was the Fortnite of its day. I'm just now thinking of it. This is the Fortnite of its day. Yeah. But I bet you all of my monies that the Fortnite legacy will not nearly be as long and as storied as the Pokemon series.
No,
No.
I'm surprised it's lasted this long.
And
But
Pokemon Red and Blue in the States, obviously in Japan when it was released was Red and Green before they did Yellow.
Christmas.
But Pokemon Red and Blue over here, like Dave said, you had to either have Red, which had Charizard on the front, or Blue, which had Blastoise on the front, and you could only get so many. Like you could get like 100 and I don't even know what it was. 151 was the original number, but like so many Pokemon, and then there were certain ones that you could find, but you could not get any other edition, so you had to find somebody to trade.
Yep.
Because otherwise you couldn't get them all.
It was brilliant. Either that or you
Yes.
had to buy 2 copies.
Yep, you had to buy 2 copies. I remember even like having like the Super Game Boy, like the cartridge you put in the Super Nintendo with the Game Boy, just because I wanted to play this on my TV, because I was like, now I want to play this. I'm not on my Game Boy. I want to play it on the TV, so I had that as well. But yeah, Pokemon Red and Blue is a landmark title. The question would be then, were you Team Red or Team Blue?
I bought Blue, actually.
My parents bought me Blue as well.
Yeah. This was the moment that Nintendo turned diabolically evil. Because they were like, oh my gosh, we can milk people into buying 2 copies of the same game, just so there's a little bit of difference between the two.
Yeah, what other game before this made you do that?
Cell Runner was Team Red through and through.
Team Red.
Here is my confession.
Uh-oh.
I did not play a Pokemon game until Platinum on the DS.
Wow.
Now, my sister bought the actual cards, and she bought the Game Boy games. She was we went to go see the movie in theaters. Sure. She was all about that. I was a teenager. Like, I don't do this Pokemon BS. I'm playing other games. So I didn't get the Pokemon craze until Platinum, and then I'm now playing Omega Red, which is the remake of Red. I should say now playing it. I own it, but yeah, I was not a. My Game Boy was for Tetris and Mario World and other.
See, I was the opposite. Games, I was the opposite. I played Red and Blue, and then I fell off, and then I played Yellow, but I fell off the bandwagon after Yellow, and then it got into all these other ones, and I'm like, get off my lawn, number 152 through the rest, because I want the original 151, and I'm an old man now. And then they released this, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, which are essentially,
yellow, right?
Is essentially yellow.
Yeah.
Correct. So,
anyway.
So, Pokemon to me was just like this charming RPG that was released that got really popular. That 98 was the year that I started working at Software, etc. back in the day.
Okay.
It wasn't until the next year, like the next spring, the game had been out. Everybody had it for Christmas. The cartoon was on TV. The movie was coming out. And then the damn card game came out. And Pokemon cards took over the world in the spring of 99. And I would get like 50 phone calls a day in the store. Do you guys have Pokemon cards? Do you have Pokemon cards? I started answering the phone. Thank you for calling Software, etc. We don't have Pokemon cards today. This is Dave. Click. How can I help you? Exactly. I would get either a click or, when are you expecting Pokemon cards? Or, do you have Pokemon cards?
Yep.
So
I had a ton.
It's what got kids into Magic the Gathering later on. Like that was their gateway drug.
Yeah. But it got me to hate Pokemon.
Cards, but...
It got me to hate Pokemon for a long time because of all that stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
And then we had like this bin of all of this Pokemon merchandise, and a lot of it was like cheap Chinese knockoff stuff too. But I don't think any of our I don't think either our buyers realized it or gave a damn, because they was just like, we have to have Pokemon stuff in the store, and the stuff sold. It was the damnest thing. I had never seen anything like it.
See, I always had the Pokemon cards, but I never learned how to play the game. We just collected them.
You were a follower.
We just collected them. Like, I collected them because I wanted to catch them all, like, in the game. So I wanted to get all the 151. And then, of course, like Jeff was talking about, we'd take them to school, And then I'd be like, oh, which ones do you got find? And then I'd be like, I'll trade you this one for this one. I want the holographic Charizard or whatever the damn thing was. And then I remember doing an art project where I painted the picture of the Charizard like from that card, and like was featured like a featured piece in like 8th grade. My art teacher featured the painting.
Oh wow.
And I don't have it anymore, but I remember like being into the cards so much. Like I just wanted to collect all the original 151.
Yeah.
But I didn't care about learning how to play. Still don't know how to play this day.
I will say the positive thing about Pokemon for me was that Pokemon was what got my fiance into video games, because she would play Pokemon in the schoolyards and stuff. And not the original Pokemon, but I think like the advanced Red and Blue remakes.
Oh, sure. The original that was kind of like a lot of like kids' first gateway gaming drug. So
yeah.
Sure.
It really was.
Sure. We gotta move on.
We gotta move on a little bit.
We gotta move on.
Still has more landmarks to cover because we're just in September.
Yeah, September 30th, 1998, Fallout 2. We're talking about Fallout 76, but Fallout 1, Fallout 2, landmark games for the tactical role-playing game. Fallout 2, people consider the best in the series.
Never played it again. I didn't have the PC set up,
Same.
so I couldn't.
Same.
You know what? We should go back onto good old games and get Fallout 2.
Yeah.
Now, Fallout 2, this was put out by Interplay, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And then after they went defunct, it went over to Bethesda.
And then didn't they become in exile? Because the people who worked on those games worked on Wasteland. If I remember correctly. Anyway,
I just want to see what the original Fallout was like before it became like the 3D thing.
It's pretty wicked. It's a good throwback. It's a lot of fun actually.
Yeah.
Some really nice cheats that you can do in there. Anyway, any good for September? If you go to October?
Yeah, good for September. I only had 2 games written for October.
October 1st, 1998. We're getting a remake very soon of this.
Yeah.
Medieval.
Yeah.
With Sir Daniel Fortescue.
Another game that I missed out on for whatever reason.
Me too. I played the PSP version of that.
I only played one of those demo discs that you used to get, and this was on a demo disc, and I played that level over and over and over, but I never actually played the game. So I'm excited to see what they do now with the relaunching of this title. And I don't know if I think if I remember reading, it's not like an exact remake. It might be like or it's not a remaster. It's like a remake.
It's like a remake, yeah. It's like the Shadow of the Colossus remake. It's not just a new coat of paint. They're rebuilding it from scratch. Right.
So I'm interested to see it. Now I will play the new edition, because I said I just put the damn demo disc over and over and over and over.
The damn demo disc.
I did.
All right. Let's here we go. Take what I said earlier incorrectly about Castlevania. One of the best games ever made.
Yep.
Period. The end.
Arguably the best game. I know where you're going. Arguably the best game of the year if it wasn't for another release.
Right.
Yes.
So October 21st, 1998. Kept you waiting, huh? Metal Gear Solid.
Ooh. You want to talk about landmark titles again?
Yes.
This game shifted. First of all, this is like one of the defining, if not the defining moments of PlayStation. It's also, like Resident Evil 2, a defining moment for the industry. It's a shift in the way that game developers look at the art of making games. They now have all these 3D tools where they can make these cinematic masterpieces, and Hideo Kojima, this student of cinema, this cinephile, puts everything he has into making the ultimate cinematic masterpiece title in Metal Gear Solid. And gameplay wise, it's still one of the best games ever made. It's so good. The voice acting behind this game was it was on another level. Like if you look at other games, the voice acting in other games, back in this era, they're all pretty C-level actor. this was just on a whole other level. I mean, David
Right.
Hayter, David Hayter just gave life to Solid Snake in a way that no voice actor had ever really given life to a video
Right.
game character before.
Sure.
And even the music was just on a whole other, again, cinematic level, especially the end piece, the best, I think it was called The Best Is Yet to Come. It's kind of like this Alaskan Inuit piece.
Yeah.
And it was
yeah.
also a game with a slight political message behind it as well, with its message about
for 13-year-old me.
yeah, but it was a
Right.
game that had a message that was kind of warning about the dangers of nuclear proliferation. I know
Yep.
I'm butchering the word, about nuclear proliferation, and how in the future there's this huge danger that nuclear weapons are going to get loose on the black market, and that they're not going to be able to be controlled by nation states any longer. And it's a danger that, definitely we face more than ever today. Maybe not with giant walking robots yet, but when you
Right.
got things like suitcase nukes that could be, in anybody's hands at this point. It's just a game on so many levels that's so far ahead of its time, and so far ahead of everything else, and how mature it is and how it treats its subject matter. It's a true masterpiece of game design and development, and it's just,
Yes.
I cannot speak more highly.
Yeah. Look, this is one of the most revered series in gaming. Period. The end. When you hear Metal Gear, people go nuts for it, as they should, and it's because this game was hit the right notes at the right time for the right people. And I will say as well, being a TMNT fan, Liquid Snake, voiced by Cam Clark, who voiced Leonardo in the 80s TMNT cartoon.
Yeah.
Also, he has a very good jazz album out where he sings soul. Cam Clark is the man. I mean, David Hayter's great. I'll take Cam Clark.
Hey, speaking of Cam Clark, you should go onto YouTube and find his video message to David Hayter. And he's reading this poem. He's reading this elaborate poem that he wrote, but he's reading it as Liquid Snake.
Oh, man.
It's chilling, dude. It is so
Okay.
chilling. And
After
just
we're done with this-
like those little back and forths between, David Hayter
Right.
tweeting stuff and then Cam Clark doing that video. I don't know, man. It just feels like there's something in the works for Metal Gear Solid. Plus, here's the thing. Konami just renewed the trademark for Metal Gear and Metal Gear Solid.
Nice.
But it's
Well,
not the same
with the caveat,
if
with the
Kojima's
caveat,
not
right.
there.
What if it's remakes, though? What if they're doing what if they're remaking the games?
How do you remake him? We've had HD collections already of all these
You
games.
do like
But put it this way.
you do like a Shadow of the Colossus thing where you remake it just from the ground up in Fox Engine. Like,
There you
if
go.
they remade Metal Gear Solid in Fox Engine, take my money. Take it. Just take
There
it.
you go.
Well, and you
Love
got to think
Konami.
too. So David Hayter, he
Right.
voiced Snake up to what? What was
Up
the last?
until-
Metal Gear Solid 4. And then
Yeah,
they
he did
replaced
did
it
four.
with Kiefer Sutherland.
And then went away or didn't do Metal Gear again.
Well, but that's not.
Okay.
It's not Solid Snake.
Right, right. But he came back for Snake and Smash Brothers, which comes out on the 7th.
Right.
So maybe Jeff's onto something with them, or and Dave, like you mentioning like them redoing, you guys talking about like them redoing the trademarks and everything. Maybe he is voicing them again. Maybe there is something to all that.
I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
hear Solid Snake, David Hayter. That's
Those-
the connection.
Right.
Kiefer did a fine job as
Oh yes, yeah,
Venom,
Yeah.
Naked Snake, whatever it was. But yeah, he did fine.
was.
I like Kiefer a lot.
right.
But but anyway.
No, we all know that. It's a prequel. We all know it's a prequel. It was sold as a prequel.
right.
We're not spoiling
I mean,
anything.
But there was like
Haters in
different
Smash. But Haters in Smash. So he's obviously back voicing him. So maybe they brought him back. He's doing Smash. Maybe he's doing something else, like you said.
My
with the renewed
fingers
trademark.
are crossed, but we'll get to that next week for the Game
Yeah.
Awards.
All
Yeah,
right,
we
sure.
gotta move on.
Yeah.
So, Dave, you were going earlier. It's now October 26th, 1998, on the N64 F-Zero X.
There we are. First off, October 26, 1998 was the first day that I entered the workforce with software, etc.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's now known as GameStop.
Yeah. But there we go. F-Zero X for Nintendo 64, one of the great N64 games of all time.
Yep,
for sure.
60 frames per second racing, just a masterpiece racing game.
Is there a bad F-Zero game? I don't think so, because the GameCube also was GX.
Yeah,
the GameCube
F-Zero
one
GX.
was just as good. Just as good. Now I'm up here.
You know a game's good when Jeff goes into falsetto.
I know. We're just covering the year 1998.
Yeah.
We were talking about F-Zero GX. There it is right there.
That game is great.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I really want that game. I wish I had bought it the last time I saw it at half price.
Yeah.
No, I think every F-Zero game that's been out has been great.
Yeah. There's not been a bad F-Zero game. Even on the GBA had
They had
F-Zero game, I think.
Yeah, they had a redo of the Super NES version.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's only been 4 F-Zero games. There was F-Zero, there was F-Zero X, there was GX, and then there was the Game Boy one.
Okay.
It's really sad.
October. Well, we're hoping a new F-Zero on the Switch Pro.
Yeah.
Switch S.
Switch S.
It's called F-Zero S.
F-Zero S, indeed.
October 30th, 1998, we got the point-and-click adventure known as Grim Fandango.
Oh, man.
Right.
You want to talk about
Grim
classics.
Yeah. Which got a reboot last year, was the remake of that one?
Yeah.
2 years ago?
I think it
that?
was a couple of years ago.
Recently.
Yeah.
Got a redo of that. The 2015 was the remake of that. But yeah, 1998, Grim Fandango from LucasArts. The same people brought you Richard and Monkey Island.
Yep.
Oh.
Day of the Tentacle.
Yep.
Full Throttle.
Yep.
Oh, and others.
Oh boy. Any more October? I guess Sin came out in October.
No, that's not a classic. October 31st, Crash
Bandicoot Warped.
Yes.
That was the third in the PlayStation trilogy, right?
Yeah.
At that point, I tapped out. At that point, I was kind of done with Crash.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dude, I played those. Like, I loved Crash, even through Warped. I started tapping out like once after Warped, after they kind of went to some of the other ones with like the Xbox ones. But Warped was the last one that I was really into, and I'm glad that with the trilogy, that's where they stopped.
Thank you, Cell Runner. Sin was huge.
Was it huge?
Yes,
I thought it was a failure, from what I remember.
It didn't take off, but that demo sold so many people on that game. And people lost their mind over it. It's a good game.
Huh.
And I'm with Summer Runner, man. High five. Sin is a good game.
Well, I stand corrected. All right.
Also, another platformer in N64. Sorry, I was cutting you off, Dan. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to move on.
Oh, sorry. October 31st, N64, we got the world saw Glover for the first time.
Yep.
The platformer of a hand.
Mm-hmm. And the last time.
And the thing that I remember most about that was that WWF, when Jim Ross would, because Glover, I think, sponsored a pay-per-view. So to hear Jim Ross going, "You gotta love the glove or feel the glove," what the hell it was.
I vaguely remember that. You gotta love the glove.
I love the glove.
I wish Jim Cornette were the one that was doing announcing at that point. And
jeez,
mother trucker. I gotta.
All right, let's move on here to.
No one can stop Miss Domino.
Not that. That's not what I was thinking.
Okay,
because we're over the 2-hour mark. We're over the 2-hour mark, so let's really hit the landmarks here.
November.
Because we're gonna have to talk a little bit about this. I was moving on to the 19th.
Okay, I'm gonna say real quickly. November 18th, we got Sonic R. Also, November 19th, we got Half-Life.
Yep. So
Half-Life 3 ain't happened for a while, fellas, but Half-Life, the Source engine, right here.
The game that made Valve.
Game that made Steam.
Yeah, the game that made Steam. Again, I think you'd be hard pressed to say that games like Halo would exist if it weren't for Half-Life, because Half-Life really set it changed the way that first-person shooters were viewed. It really introduced story into first-person shooters, which There had been little bits of story, but it was just like Doom or Quake, or it's like, okay, demons have come out of this portal and you gotta kill them.
Right.
This game though it breathed life into a character, and again, it's just one of those games that really pushed the art form of video games forward, as well as pushing a genre forward.
Sure, and it made the crowbar a viable weapon in gaming. Period. Gordon Freeman did not say a word in that entire. I don't think he said a word in the entire game, but he became one of the most popular characters in gaming history.
Yeah, that's true too.
And yeah, this game made Valve, made Steam, made Source Engine, like all these games that Valve pushes out now. Half-Life started it all.
Oh, Cell Runner. I remember when my friends and I all thought we were the shit because we downloaded an illegal mod called Counter-Strike, and then it got legitimized.
And then it became real, and it's still going strong to this day.
I just realized I skipped over a major October game here that we should have talked about.
What did we skip over?
I'll throw out an honorable mention to one of the RPG greats, Xenogears.
Yes, that came out.
October 20th. Sorry about that. So yeah, Xenogears. Square was just on this huge roll throughout the PlayStation era.
Yeah,
and Xenogears was just another masterpiece of design. The only problem with it was that it was rushed out, and that once you got to the second disc, it's like they took out all the gameplay elements, and it's like the second disc was just like long exposition and then the end of the game, basically. Right. So kind of a tragedy. But this was the second game that was composed by Yasunori Mitsuda, who was the composer for Chrono Trigger. And I think that game was, Xenogears was made by a lot of the same people who did Chrono Trigger. So it's kind of a sort of a spiritual successor in a way to Chrono Trigger.
Now, before we get to the big one,
yes.
Real quickly, some quick notes here. Hardware-wise, the Game Boy Camera came out this year. So did the Game Boy Color come out this year.
Oh wow!
The Dreamcast launched in Japan. The Sega Saturn got discontinued in this year.
Okay.
The Wonder Swan came out in Japan. And also the Neo Geo Pocket got released this year.
Okay.
Also this year, Eidos acquired Crystal Dynamics. EA acquired Westwood Studios. The Command and Conquer people.
End of them.
Yep.
Hasbro got the Atari brand and property from JTS in May.
Oh wow.
And acquired Microprose in August.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Square,
Microprose, didn't they put out like a bunch of flight simulators on the PC back in the day, like F-15 Strike Eagle?
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. I miss those days.
Square and EA formed Square Electronic Arts LLC this year.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was short-lived, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. I believe so. Havas, a subsidiary of Vivendi, acquired Sendent Software, which included Sierra Online and Blizzard Entertainment.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Age of consolidation was beginning at this point, and then would really ramp up in the early to mid 2000s.
Sure was. Okay, one more thing. A little game called Dance Dance Revolution hit the Japanese arcades around this time as well. So the fad was starting in Japan in 1998.
All right, before we get to the game of the year, let me throw out a couple of other honorable mentions that we just have to mention, but we don't really have time to go into. Right. Also releasing in 1998, Thief: The Dark Age.
Yes.
Excellent
Dark Project.
I'm sorry. Excellent first-person game. Yes. Also on the N64 in December, we had Star Wars Rogue Squadron.
Love that game.
Oh my gosh, how can you forget that game? I keep hearing rumors that somebody's going to try and bring it back. I just don't see how it's going to happen.
I played the hell out of it.
And then the last game I was going to mention, a game that I didn't get a chance to play again because of my lack of PC at the time, but Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate is
classic PC games of all time, one of the classic RPG franchises of all time. Huge game when it came out. Such a, one of the best top sellers of 98, one of the best games of 98.
Yep. I'm going to throw a couple more out there. November 30th, we saw the expansion of StarCraft. Brood War came out.
Yeah,
That's
already.
true.
It was land make
Baldur's
groundbreaking
Gate. Sorry.
because of when Kerrigan died and became the Queen of Blades. It's like, oh my god, a character I loved for so long is now dead and now evil, and you see Raider. That Brood War made that game even better.
Right.
Also, December 18th on the N64, we got the original Mario Party.
Mario Party.
Oh shoot, you're right.
That was my honorable mention. If we didn't get to an honorable mention, yeah.
Yep.
breaking the N64 joysticks everywhere.
Yes.
Because they had that mini game with the rowboat.
Shine.
Oh, I cannot believe that's 20 years since this game came
They
out.
sold a glove. They sold a
They
N64 branded glove for that mini game.
Right.
Oh,
Stupid.
man.
That new one hurts pretty good. Also, Tomb Raider 3 came out on
Yep.
November 20th for what it is. All right, fellas. We got a... Oh, Oddworld Abe's Exodus also came out in November
Yes.
of that year as well.
All right, let's get to the main event of 1998. If Metal Gear...
Yes.
If this game hadn't come out, Metal Gear Solid would have been the best game of 1998. But then Nintendo had to set the standard for 3D action adventure. A lot of people thought that they couldn't do it after the success of Mario 64. A lot of people said, how is a 3D game going to feel different than Mario 64, a 3D third-person action adventure? How are you going to make that feel different? I don't think it can be done. But yet Nintendo persevered, and they released maybe one of the greatest games of all time. It was certainly called by Next Generation Gaming Magazine at the time the greatest game ever released. On November 21st, that was... The Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. It's just,
Still in my top, if not top 3, top 5 games of all time. Like, it's up there. I know people say, like, if you go back and replay it, like, that it's maybe not, doesn't like age as well, but I disagree. That game's so much fun to play.
Disagree as well.
I do. I mean, I pulled out my GameCube
Nice.
Legend of Zelda promotional disc with one with 4 classic games on it that I got for Christmas a few years ago.
Yeah.
I went back and replayed it on the GameCube, and I was like, this game's so much fun.
I replayed it on the 3DS, so back when that came out, and
that's okay. It's an okay port of it. I mean, I would just want to play
a good port.
I would rather play it on a 64. But Z-targeting, that's when I think of Ocarina of Time, I think of Z-targeting. And how
think about that.
Nintendo just said, with Mario 64, Nintendo said, this is how you will do platformers on our system. And also, with Ocarina, they said, this is how it will control on our systems. And they said, this is how, period. This is how they're going to work. And they're perfect. Done.
Yep. I actually did a series of 10 articles back, late 96 through early 97, called the 10 most important games that Nintendo ever produced. And of course, Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time is on that list. And Z-targeting is one of the reasons why. No other game had come up with this idea of having a dedicated button to lock onto an enemy and allow your character to move into 3D space without getting, confused or getting lost, behind other things and stuff like that. That was an innovation introduced in Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Also, contextual buttons.
Mm-hmm.
So you could press the button. The use of one of the buttons on the N64 control pad would change depending on what Link was doing. It might be a roll if he's running. It might be a jump if he's near a platform or ledge or something. It might be something else if he has a weapons drawn.
Right.
That action button was introduced in Ocarina of Time, and
it was
something that it's those little things that have carried forward throughout the industry. But I mean, what more can you say about Ocarina of Time as far as
it still holds up to this day? It still holds up.
Yeah, it still holds up. I mean, it's if we were to go back and do a playthrough, like say if one of us played it and the other ones were watching, like we'd still all, no matter who like was playing it or who was watching, we'd all have a good time because that game there's so many fond memories of that game. And that was the first time that I genuinely played a game. Like, okay, we talked about like Banjo and some other like kind of open world-ish games. Like that was the first time where I was like, holy crap, I can go almost anywhere I want, like, and do whatever I want. And
it felt so massive.
It felt like it was so big. And back then, like, 11-year-old me, like it was almost like it was too much for my brain to take in. Like I was just like, well, what do I do? Do I need to go over here first? I need to go over here first. I wasn't really sure what to do, but as I played it, it just felt so right. And like you said, the Z targeting, I don't remember, like you said, there was no other game before it that really did it that way, did it correctly. Locking on to an enemy and using your slingshot, for example, to hit it at the right time, because otherwise, like, you couldn't defeat that enemy, and just all the different little things that that game did. It did it right, and it did it so well. That game to this day, like I said, is in my top games of all time.
Easily, yeah.
And I don't think that any of the other Zelda games have come close to topping it, at least until Breath of the Wild. I think Breath of the Wild is a fantastic game, and
sure,
I kind of preferred it to Ocarina of Time to be quite frank.
Look, and I'll say it now, Majora's Mask overrated.
Okay. I never really played Majora's Mask.
Majora's Mask is,
for whatever reason, I was really cautious about Majora's Mask because I was like, it doesn't feel right that this game came out so quickly.
Right.
And everybody says it's so good, but for some reason, my mind at that point was like,
it's just that the time thing and the moon coming down. It should take 5 years for a
Zelda game, was my thinking.
You gotta keep blowing the ocarina, have to go back up. It's just like, it's overrated.
I think. Well, and then Jeff, you just mentioned the ocarina, like playing the ocarina on the C buttons.
Yeah, awesome.
Like, I was just like, heck yeah, I want to play that and make it rain now.
And couldn't you freestyle? You just make your own stuff up, and hopefully you got it right.
Yeah, well, right. Before, other than like writing down, like once you learn a combo, like writing it down. Okay, so it's left down right, or whatever the different things were to like.
I would just jam out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think it also introduced like Epona to the series, and then what's the song that do 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 do. Like that was not in Zelda's musical lexicon until Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, that's true.
And of course, the Great Deku Tree.
Oh, the Great Deku Tree. You're right. That wasn't in Zelda lore. Dang.
But I have to knock it a little bit because it gave us Navi. And hi,
Navi was all right, but then all the rest of them, the ones that came after Navi sucked. All of them sucked, especially the one in Twilight Princess. It was like so unplayable because of that and because of all the freaking fetch quests.
Well, and it was.
You want to talk about overrated? Twilight Princess was overrated, dude.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't hand-holding.
It's better than Skyward Sword, but
we might be getting a redone Skyward
hearing that.
Sword. So
it can't be much worse.
But Navi wasn't like hand-holdy about it. Like at least like as much as the voice kind of after a while could get
nagging at me the whole time.
Sure. The reason I think Navi is more appreciated, or at least not as much of a detriment as the other ones became, was because this was the first 3D Zelda, so you really did kind of need that guide for navigating this 3D version of Hyrule for the first time.
Yep.
But, the subsequent versions, we'd been playing 3D games for a while by the time Twilight Princess came out. We didn't need freaking hand-holding every step of the way to remind me how to open a treasure chest or suggesting where to go.
Well, I could different controls game. It was the first thing with the Wii with the motion controller. So they had to figure out, okay, let's show them how this new peripheral, this new way to control games works.
Also, with Ocarina of Time, you had the ability, to shield in different directions. So you'd shield and use that analog stick, to point different directions. To when, like, for example, you're talking about the enemies that would shoot the seeds at you, and you could kind of knock them in different directions if you needed to and hit targets. And but it also gave us Young Link, You know, you think about like, for example, I look at Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers has the different versions of Link. You get young Link as well. So kind of a different take on Link, because you started as young Link and played your way through the story, and kind of a different take on Link, I guess, as well.
That's a great point.
Yep. Yeah, I was going to say, Cell Runner with a great comment here, saying, I think what it boils down to is that Nintendo was all about perfecting gameplay, or at the very least experimenting with it. And he's absolutely right. The beautiful thing about the beautiful thing about the PlayStation N64 age was that we were just getting into 3D, and everyone was still experimenting, and we were
early 3D.
It was a pioneer age. It was the pioneer age. It was like going back to the NES. I always say that the NES was where game developers learned how to make games, and then the Super NES was where game developers learned how to make art, and then all of that stuff got reset when we got to PlayStation and N64. Now we've got 3D, so we've got to learn how to make 3D games, and then PlayStation 2 and Xbox and GameCube was how we learned how to create worlds, and then like Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 was where we learned how to create experiences.
Yeah, could you imagine if the N64 had a better controller?
It was okay for those Nintendo-centric games, but for everything else.
Right. I want to know who sat there and said, okay, they have two hands, let's give them three handles.
For some reason, I think they wanted to hang on to that digital joystick, or the D-pad. They wanted to hang on because that was their trademark, and it was like,
which is funny because they then the Switch comes out and it's got the buttons until they release the different Joy-Con. But the D-pad, because they still had it, but you didn't use it for a whole lot. You everything used the stick because everybody wanted to be progressive and use the stick. Sure. But I agree with that. I agree.
The D-pad should never go away. First,
it's not on the Switch.
Yeah, unless you get
they have the arrows on the joypad.
That's not the D-pad.
The Switch Pro has the D-pad.
Switch Pro has a D-pad, but the stock Switch does not have a D-pad.
It has
to double as the other buttons.
Well, yes, but you can get the was it the Hori? I think they released the new. The new left Joy-Con has the D-pad if you buy.
My point is that Nintendo moved away from it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, we're seeing this today. Real quick point because we got to take it home. You're seeing that today with games like Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild and Splatoon and stuff. They are making the gameplay as they're perfecting gameplay. Mario Odyssey, one of the best platformers ever. Period. I love Mario Odyssey. Breath of the Wild, one of the best open world RPGs ever. Splatoon, one of the best multiplayer experiences ever. And PS4, Xbox One, they're fighting over how many teraflops they have in their 4K and stuff. There's still good games on there. But Nintendo's about gameplay. Microsoft, Nintendo about how good does this look.
Exactly.
And
not good or bad. Not good or bad.
So let's put a capstone here on 1998. As a year, I had forgotten that this. I always remember it as the year that games like, Legend of Zelda and Metal Gear came out, and Half-Life and games like that. But then I forget about all these other little, not little games, but great games for the time, like Xenogears and F-Zero X and all the stuff that we talked about. Is this the best year in gaming? My thought had always been 2001 was the best year of gaming, and I think we'll do a retrospective on that soon.
For sure. I definitely think we're in the best era of gaming at this point.
It's definitely the best year of the 90s for sure.
I mean, mainly because 99 for me because Dreamcast came out, and that made me happy. But obviously, 98 had more games, 99 had a better system. Mm-hmm. It's hard to say that this year is not the best, if not one of the best in gaming history.
It might be one of the year where games probably aged. Like you look at a lot of these games, and you're like, man, like I would play that now.
Right.
So many of these games you could still play and still have a good time with. I think you're right. I think 98 might be the best year of gaming.
It's certainly
I've got Pocket Fighter here and FF Tactics here. Let's boot up some PS1.
It's certainly the most important year, maybe the most important year of gaming in terms of how many important industry I'm trying to word this correctly, but how many games that have been so important to moving our industry forward came out in that same year.
Yes.
But I just quickly, because Stell mentioned it, I brought 1997 just to see what kind of the time frame here. 97, we got FF7. We got GoldenEye 007 on the 64. We got Tomb Raider 2. We got Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Gran Turismo.
Star Fox 64. We got Quake 2. We got Oddworld Abe's Odyssey. So we're deep into at least a good chunk of years here. Yeah. They're the best that gaming has ever seen.
Yeah. The era of gaming was at a peak at this point for sure.
Yeah, definitely with that generation of hardware, because then we've got 1999. We had some cool stuff, but we're starting to see the development decline a little bit as developers got ready for PlayStation 2. But anyway, 20 years ago, landmark year of gaming. Go and check out some of these titles that have really defined our industry, and see for yourself why that year was so amazing. Anyway,
at some point we'll look at 97, we'll look at 01, we'll look at other big time years and see how they stack up.
That's enough of the past. Let's close this out and look towards the future. We're going to start by looking at the future of the Game Tasty podcast. That is next week, same time, same channels. Definitely not as long. Next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. It's all about the Game Awards. It's Game Awards week. It's the big celebratory week, folks. So we're going to offer our predictions on what big announcements are coming from Jeff Keighley's big show out in LA. A little bit sad this year because no PlayStation experience backing it up, but hey, we got the kind of funny thing, so
and perhaps a Yakuza announcement.
Something.
Saw that. But anyway, we'll be doing our big prediction special next week, right here on the Game Tasty Show, and then on Thursday night next week, December 8th. Hard to believe it's going to be December 6th. I'm sorry.
6th, yeah.
Hard to believe we're going to be 6 days into December already, but that's the way the time flies.
That's right.
December 6th, the Game Awards. Now you can go over to the Game Awards channel and watch it if you want. That's lame, all right?
That's cool.
It's just lame. No, it's lame. It's lame.
Support
it's
Jeff
lame.
Keighley.
It's lame. You can support Jeff Keighley, but you can also support us. Let's get 2 birds with 1 stone. Hang out right here on these channels, twitch.tv, Mixer, YouTube, Smashcast. Hang out with us, because we're going to be broadcasting the Game Awards. We're going to be doing our reactions to all the big announcements, all the awards that are given out for the show. Just hang out, party with us. Let us know what you think, what's going on. If you're happy about announcements, you know how these things go. You've seen these before. Guaranteed it's going to be a good time. That'll be on December 6th. We're going to start at, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll have like a 30-minute pre-show before the Game Awards start.
Right.
And then that's 7 Central. So
then that night, we'll pick up Smash Brothers.
Yeah, that night, Smash Brothers. We might actually have some guests. We're talking with some people, trying to get some people in, and it's going to be a good time. Anyway.
Some big names.
Final thoughts before we close out this 2.5-hour masterpiece.
God, I remember when games were good. Games are good now, but man, this is a different era, different time, and man, I miss the 90s so much at this point. But also, I'm going to jump into some Red Dead Online now that once we wrap this up. I'm going to hear that Cam Clark thing, and then I'm going to go back to Red Dead Online.
Oh, I want to hang
tomorrow,
out with you while you listen to the Cam Clark thing.
Okay.
All right.
And then tomorrow you can find me at twitch.tv/JeffRoth, because tomorrow I have preloaded and I will be streaming Valve's new card game Artifact. Will be happening on the Jeff Roth channel tomorrow night around 7:30 Central, so 8:30 Eastern, over at twitch.tv/JeffRoth, also on Twitter at JeffRoth as well.
Justin, has your child pooped yet?
Gotcha.
Yes. So as far as my final thoughts and just kind of talking about everything, 98 was a great year in gaming. I wish I had a little more fond memories because obviously I was only 11. So the only thing that stinks is, it was so long ago. And I was obviously doing so many things as an 11-year-old. But
build a time machine.
Yeah, I know, right?
Do it. Do it now. Do it now.
The other thing I would say is make sure you tune in next week. Kind of a final thought. Tune in next week because next week's a big week for not only video games but for this channel and for Nerd Bacon as a whole. Tuesday, obviously doing our predictions. We're going to talk about like the awards and who we think will win, maybe our picks, and maybe I'll keep track of them just for fun and see who does the has like the most predictions for the awards itself. But then we also will go into our maybe some, like Dave was talking about, predictions. But that's gonna be a really fun episode. It won't go as long, of course, but it'll be a fun episode for that. And again, like I said, Thursday, stay tuned for that. And then we may be doing something again for Saturday, but make sure you're staying tuned for all this stuff because there's a lot of really cool announcements, I'm sure, a lot of cool content coming your way from the three of us, and like you said, hopefully some guests. So please stay tuned. Otherwise, just follow Nerd Bacon on Twitter, Nerd Bacon on Facebook. You can also find me at Level Up Justin on Twitter, Instagram. But that's really it.
Yeah,
right. Not just the three of us. There's a bunch of us from NerdBacon.com will be giving us content.
But follow us on Twitter. Folks, we are 6 followers away from hitting 550. We want to hit that milestone by the end of the week. So go nerd_bacon on Twitter. Hit that follow button. Get me that 550. Man, oh man, that would make me happy. But
we are a underground trio trying to bust through the crust and be among the elite because we deserve it.
We got to bust through this podcast here. That's all the time that we have. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next week on Tuesday for our Game Awards prediction special, and then next Thursday night for our Game Awards watch along party. For everyone here at Nerd Bacon, I am Dave the Watchman.
I'm Level Up Justin.
And I am Jeff Roth.
Thanks so much for joining in, and as always, never forget, Game tasty. Woo. We will see you next week. Good night, everybody.
See y'all.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.